afternoon, football fans, and what is going on, y'all? Day number 4 has arrived. Well, it's about that time to finish up the NFC. Wow, I mean, seriously, you guys. It has been a fun 4 days, or 3 days. And we are now getting on into day number 4. So, with that said, y'all, thank you to all 12 of my guests for the last 3 days. And, well, it is now on to the NFC East. Today, we are talking plenty diehards as per usual. Of course, starting things off with the hosts of the Red River Show down here on IE Sports Radio, talking all Oklahoma and Texas sports. We are talking with Miss Mary Ella and Mr. Brendan Epperson about their Cowboys. Next up, we're going up north, flying with them Eagles, flying high, talking with, of course, the hosts of the Philly Sports Talk Show here on IE Sports Radio, or Philly Talk Sports, that is. Or Philly Sports Talk, sorry. With Cash and Chris. We'll be talking with Cash and Chris, of course, in this show. Coming up after that, we will be talking with one half of the show that never sleeps and founder and CEO of WSR London Sports Radio, Mr. Pierre Moss. And when we are moving on to someone who's not a part of the IE Sports Radio station, but let's just say I'm trying to get him a part of this as well, Mr. Jesse will be joining us of the Bleeding Burgundy podcast to talk about his Washington football team. As I mentioned, it has been a wild ride in these first 3 days. It's only going to get crazier, y'all, as we finish off NFC Week. It is the conclusion of NFC Week here on 3 and Out, 8 Division in 8 days. And, of course, starting next Monday, we're getting right on into the AFC with the AFC South. All right, y'all, it's going to be fun. Grab you something cold, delicious to drink. Maybe warm yourself something delicious to nibble on, to chew on while we're doing this here today. And enjoy for the next 3 hours. You are now tuned in live to 3 and Out, 8 Divisions in 8 days. NFC conclusion. NFC East Day right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans. Well, here we are right back at it. My goodness, those first couple of days were absolutely awesome. If you missed any of them, you freaking missed out. Like, seriously, you really did. But no worries, you can catch our podcast pretty much anywhere podcasts can be found. And, of course, on YouTube, just type in IE Sports Radio, 3 and Out. You might want to follow it with 8 Divisions in 8 days. But we definitely have some great stuff, y'all, and looking forward to having ourselves another good one here today. So, with that said, this is very exciting. We got, of course, all the teams down here in the NFC. Got everybody live. It was really nice to have all of the actual diehard fans, and I didn't have to talk about any of them this year, and that's going to be the goal every year, of course, is to get a fan for every show. I did this like 2 years ago, and last year I kind of screwed up. I messed up and didn't get like a couple of fans or however it went, but unfortunately that went under the radar. Regardless, this is the the new era of IE Sports Radio, 7 years in, and yeah, I am doing my darndest to get every fan. So next week, get ready, because it's AFC week. We'll be talking with all 16 of those teams, and I will be, of course, representing, because this is just such an exciting year, I will be representing my Raiders next Wednesday on AFC West Day, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking to have Gary Funk, of course, trying hard to get him on the show for this one. He's the host of our Colorado show, Made in Colorado. Taryn Rodriguez, who is already in the chat room here. What's going on, Taryn? He'll be representing his Chargers. I'll be representing my Raiders, and of course, we'll be trying to get on Mr. Brandon Buck to talk about his Chiefs. the host of Kansas City Sports Talk here on IE Sports Radio. So with that said, you guys, gonna be fun. That should be an all IE Sports Radio day. Terrence says here, good afternoon, have an amazing show. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man, for tuning in, and everybody else tuning in here today. Terrence says, looks like I won't be representing Washington like I did last year. Why? Yeah, that's right, he did. He jumped on last year. Yeah, like I said, last year was just a really tough one. But he says, why aren't there a whole lot of Washington fans in our neck of the woods? Well, I didn't find any in my neck of the woods. My cousin's actually one, Andy, but I found one in their neck of the woods. And yes, he really did. Terrence says, I brought Washington luck last year, and, well, they won the division. So can they do it again? We shall find out. But we got plenty to get into before we get to them. They're the final team of the day, and as I mentioned earlier, we got plenty to get into. We'll be talking, of course, to Mary Ella and Brendan Epperson. They brought the fire in the first one. They really did. I enjoyed all of the interviews, but man, that was a fun one talking with them in the very beginning. They really set the tone. Then, of course, Cash and Chris, they never disappoint. Awesome, great stuff there. Pierre Moss, respectful gentleman, but he definitely had his blows to throw, which is pretty awesome. And then the man who's joining us right now in the chat room, glad to have him, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jesse Martin of the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. As I said, it's not like I'm trying to get him a part of IE Sports Radio or anything to do our DMV show. Cough, cough. Anyway, yeah, so that wasn't funny. Anyway, with that said, you guys, hopefully all you enjoyed today's show. It's going to be a fun one. Lots of crap talking. So let's go ahead and do this and get this out of the way before we go into our first commercial and get into the show. So get on over to IE Sports Radio, at IE Sports Radio. On Twitter, duh. And I will actually retweet it right now because it's buried underneath all of the awesome content from all of our great shows here at IE Sports Radio that I have been retweeting. But go ahead and cast your vote for who you think is going to win the division this year, the NFC East. So I went ahead and retweeted it again. Well, I went ahead and retweeted it, so it's at the top of the IE Sports Radio Twitter right now. So got a few hours before that is up. And then, of course, I'll be putting the Trash Talking Award, the Stick It To 'Em Award, coming up at the end of the show here today. So you'll put that up and tell us who you think your favorite, or who you thought your favorite Stick It To 'Em. Let me rephrase that. That's something horrible. You will go ahead and be able to vote on that poll to tell us who your favorite Stick It To 'Em segment was. So, great stuff, and certainly looking forward to another great day here. So, with that said, y'all, we're going to take ourselves our first break of the day, and when we get back, we will start things off with none other than Mary Ella and Brennan Epperson talking about their Dallas Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 3 and Outs, 8 divisions in 8 days, the conclusion of NFC week, talking NFC East, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we are on a beautiful Thursday afternoon, Thursday, July 22nd, 2001. Kind of funny because this is, of course, being recorded on Saturday, July 17th. Shh, don't tell anybody. But anyway, as I always say, as I've been saying this entire week, it's nice to pre-record these interviews on the weekend when we actually have the time versus actually trying to get, people on the live show right now where it's a tough time. So, for some people. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it is NFC East today. We are finishing off the NFC East here. Well, the NFC week, that is. We're finishing off NFC week here today on 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC week, NFC East day. Of course, coming up next Monday, we'll be having AFC week starting with the AFC South. And yeah, we'll continue as the same pattern we did from this last past week, South, North, West, East, as I always like to say. I go with whoever won the Super Bowl in that division, and then the conference, of course, goes that first week. So NFC week, AFC week, depends on who wins the Super Bowl, what week goes first. And then, of course, that division goes first. I have my very own order. I always go Northwest, East, South. That's just my thing. So then it just follows from there. As you've seen this week, do NFC South, Northwest, and now to the East. So anyway, with the explanation, of course, I think I've already explained it sometime during this week, but we are here on the final day of NFC week, and we are talking Cowboys football here on the NFC East, the once known powerhouse division of the NFL. Last year was anything but that. And it's been a little, not necessarily the powerhouse it was in the early 90s at all in the last couple of years. But will it get back there? We shall see. So, with that said, you guys, I am joined here by two hosts on IE Sports Radio. Of course, the hosts of the Red River Rush here on IE Sports Radio. You can catch them every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Central Time. They are awesome, and I'm really excited to have them here today to talk about their Dallas Cowboys. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, of course, as I mentioned already, hosts of the Red River Rush here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, welcoming Miss Mary Ella and Mr. Brennan Epperson. How's it going, you guys?
Hey, we're excited to talk Cowboys football with you.
What's up, Larry?
It's great to have you guys on here. The applause is going. We're showing y'all love, man. Gotta show some love, and the states that definitely know how to barbecue. I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm just gonna say it. I think, I've never even had Texas or Oklahoma barbecue, but to me, it just seems like I really, really feel like you guys. I watch Food Network. Okay, I'm fat. I'm sorry. Food Network is my thing, and I've seen barbecue from those states, and it's like, oh man, like. So he said, but with that said, you guys, this is going to be fun. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these Dallas Cowboys, y'all. So first and foremost, we're kicking off NFC East Day, here today. We got, of course, coming up with Giants, Giants talk, the Washington football team talk, and of course, your guys' favorite Philly talk. I'm just kidding. But we're talking to Cash and Chris in just a little bit. But so we got some duos here today, as you can see. But really excited about these Cowboys. So last year, not the most ideal year. But last Tuesday, I do want to just go ahead and jump right into this. Dak Prescott. What you guys were talking about on last week's show was incredible. And what I mean by last week, of course, is this past week from... my goodness, July 13th, of course, there will already be another show after this, and by this time next week. But on the 13th show, you guys really got into the disrespect, in a sense, of Dak Prescott. So I want you guys to kind of just jump on that a little bit. If you want to hear the entirety, the show in its entirety, of course, check us out wherever podcasts are found, YouTube, right here on Spreaker.com, all kinds of great stuff there. But, quick and dirty, what is it? Why do you think people really don't think Dak is all that great? So, Mary, we'll start with you, and of course, give us your quick and dirty spiel on what Dak Prescott really does mean to the Cowboys.
I mean, I think it's mainly just because he wears the star. I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of. You watch how he is off the field, how even, other players from other teams love and respect him. You see how his teammates love and respect him. Every coach dating back from like junior high says how amazing he is. It's always been good reports of people that actually have been around him or know him really well. Then you learn and see how he is on the field and his progression from his rookie year. And it's undeniable to me that he deserves respect. But the only thing I can think of is that he wears the star.
Okay, I mean, I can definitely see that. A lot of Cowboy haters out there, so I can definitely understand that. Brennan, what's your take?
Well, Mary's right, and here's how you know she's right. Before we got Dak officially signed, and if you were on Twitter, there was every fan base who had a Photoshop picture of Dak in their uniform. Washington fans, Eagles fans, 49ers, Bears, I saw it all. Steelers fans, I saw it all. Everyone wanted Dak because they know what Dak can do. And then once Dak got inked back up, he was trash again. Every one of those teams I just listed would trade their quarterback for ours in a heartbeat because they know that Dak is a leader of men. And Dak came in as a rookie from day one and elevated a team that the year before had no quarterback. We won like 4 games, I think. Last year Romo got hurt. Yeah. All they added was, we got Zeke Elliott, but we also got Dak Prescott. And to keep it short and sweet, that's the nitty-gritty truth. If you wear the star, you get the disrespect.
And it's crap. I don't like that whatsoever. There's a player that there's a whole bunch of players that I respect. Of course, the entire NFL, because as it goes, and this is something that I will always say, nobody sucks in the NFL. It's just some are better than others because they freaking made it. You know how hard it is to get there? There's somebody saying it's awesome, but when it comes down to it, man, I respect so many great players for a lot of different reasons here on the Cowboys. Dak, because of course, the guy was amazing, of course, in college. That senior year of his in Mississippi State was incredible, and then he comes on in and takes the NFL by storm. Cooper, as you guys know, I'm a Raider fan, and he really wasn't working out the greatest in silver and black, and it wasn't his fault. It's just a change of scenery can be everything sometimes, and he made things happen over there, and he still is. He's still pretty dang good, and he may not be the greatest receiver of all time, okay, but he's, I see him doing much better and much more than he ever did with the Raiders, so I love that. That is awesome. CeeDee Lamb, very, very good receiver who I am really excited to see blossom coming up, continue to blossom, that is, as a wide receiver. Michael Gallup, I saw this guy a couple of years ago in the Senior Bowl in the Combine. You knew he was going to go somewhere, but where was he going to go? Oh, that's right. He went to the freaking Cowboys because, they like to find hidden gems. The guy is an all-star. Zach Martin, must I continue with how amazing this guy is? You say his name, and he's so damn good. One of the best guards, if not, the best guard in the freaking, actually, I would say one of the best guards in the entire NFL. The guy's a monster, okay? So seeing him, so I guess, big time. Tyron Smith, of course. How can you ignore Tyron Smith? Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, Mary and Brendan, I played against Tyron Smith in high school. That was awesome. He's a heck of a player. He played for my school, USC. You know what I mean? Not where I went, but I'm saying like the team I rep. So I'm just saying, and that's just the offensive side of the ball. Vander Esch, freaking beast. Diggs, okay? Seriously, you have such a great, in my opinion, the Cowboys have a very, very good football team. DeMarcus Lawrence, I remember him entering. I know I'm taking all your guys' time. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying this is how much I respect the Cowboys, and this is how much I believe you guys are actually a very good football team. So let's go ahead and get in to just a little bit of moves here. So first things first, with the free agency this year, there was a lot of moves here, there, but I just want to hear before we get into free agency. Of course, I just began the whole conversation with this, but Mary started us off, then Brennan immediately followed, but I just mentioned all these great athletes. How are you guys really feeling? How How confident are you that this team can actually freaking come into the season this year and start knocking teams around? Of course, I know health is everything, but really, I mean, I think this is a very good football team. So, Mary, start us off. How confident are you really coming out of the gates?
I mean, as far as the rest of the NFC East goes, we are definitely, I think, a better team when we're healthy. I think as long as our defense, which was very bad last season, as long as they can be at least average, and our offense picks up where they left off when Dak got injured, which was they were number one, even if they were just top 5, and our defense was average, I'm very confident that not only we could win the division, but we're going to at least win one playoff game.
Okay, I like the realism, but man, this is a good football team. I'm just saying, if you can stay healthy, I think you guys can go a little further than that. Honestly, it's a good team. So, Brennan, how about you?
I mean, I'm just worried. I mean, the defense, we gotta see some things before I can really get confident. But I definitely think there's a chance to go further than that. But speaking from what I know now, I think that's the most realistic I can give.
As spoken by a true diehard, and I love it. Great stuff there, Mary. Brennan, how about you, man?
I'm honestly probably a little bit more optimistic than Mary, just because I see the NFC being very vulnerable right now. If you look at the teams who were at the top last year, Tampa Bay and Green Bay, Tampa Bay just has like the impossible task of having to repeat. It's very hard. Green Bay, their quarterback hates them right now. That's tough for them. New Orleans lost Drew Brees. Seattle, they're going to start hot, but they'll do what they do every year, which is fall off a cliff and lose in the wild card. And then you look, the rest of the teams in the West, they're all very good. Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, but they all have question marks. They've all been teams who haven't been able to elevate when the year goes on. I feel like if the Cowboys stay healthy, and like Mary said, even if our defense is just average, we don't have to be a top 5 defense. If we can get up back into the top half, top 15, and I know our offense is a top 5 offense without a doubt. We were a number 1 offense before we had CD Lamb on our team. Then this team, I think, can go far. I think we realistically, I'm not saying we will, but realistically, we could be a team, if healthy, that could challenge for the NFC Championship. If you look at our defense in 2019, I think it finished ranked like number 11th or something. Like it did all right efficiency-wise. Mm-hmm. And then last year with the same defense, it just disappeared. So I don't like to blame coaches a whole lot, though. If you look at what changed on our defense from 19 to 20, it was Mike Nolan. So that makes me feel optimistic that, okay, we took that cancer out, throw him away. Let's bring in someone who in the past has led the number 1 defense in football, and now let's see what that defense can really do. So I have high hopes. I'm never going to call my shot and say Super Bowl because I'm just setting myself up for, slander and mockery on Twitter. But I think if you look at how vulnerable the NFC really is, I think Cowboys have a good shot of going far.
I agree. I like what you guys got, and I really do believe this team is, once again, as Mary said, though, health is everything, of course. I mean, if you guys stay healthy, absolutely. So let's take a look at some of these free agents. Because, my goodness, I mean, it's like a soap opera with some of these free agents, man. It's just because it's like, the departures, some of them suck, and some of these pickups are awesome. So, one that I really, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but this one kicks me where it hurts, man. Like, I don't like this at all. This is painful for me because I really liked this guy. I liked him at freaking Colorado when he was there. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Seeing Awuzie leave to the Bengals, that's a kick below the belt, man. That's a low blow. Like, 'cause this guy's a freaking beast. I mean, when you guys, like Byron Jones to me, like when he left, like, I mean, we knew him as the guy who jumped out of the stadium with all of his jumps and everything. In the combine, a couple years back. I mean, it's just the corners. I remember when you guys signed Claiborne. It's like, what the heck? Could you guys not hold good CBs? Good corners? I don't know. But then again, right now, don't get me wrong. Your guys' corners right now are good. But Awuzie, that hurts going to the Bengals. Of course, you guys kept Dak. That was pretty awesome. Glad. You guys pick up Ty, I don't want to butcher his name, but Niche, I believe coming out from the Bills is a right tackle. Andy Dalton, like that was a loss. Just kidding, sorry guys. But, over to the Bears. So I'm just saying, there was, a few things. Cameron Irving, your guys' left guard, will go on to the Panthers. Blake Bell, tied in over to the Chiefs. So, some of these are like, blah, whatever, but still, I just feel like there were some key pickups, some key acquisitions here. But those are just a few I'm looking at right now. But once again, I'm not trying to take all your guys' time, so I want you guys to talk about this. So starting, once again, with Mary, give us your biggest, of course, pickups and your biggest departures and why.
My biggest pickup for me is Brent Urban. He was a defensive tackle that was in Chicago last year.
You stole mine.
Any Cowboys fan, I think most of us will say him because the Cowboys were just awful at stopping the run last season. There were guys that were coming in off the bench that were getting over 100 yards against our defense when they were trying to rush the ball. And he had a PFF grade, if anyone's interested in PFF, of over 80 when stopping the run. I think he was like top 3 in the league. So we really, really needed that help. If we can stop the run, we make some teams one-dimensional, and that's super important to our defense improving from last year. So I'm very excited about him. I was surprised that Chidobe Awuzie wasn't re-signed, just because he was definitely a big help in terms of our secondary. Obviously, I didn't like him as much as I like Byron Jones, but I figured that's someone we could get for pretty cheap, which Stephen Jones loves. And, having a veteran on your defense, especially in the back end, is important, with now we have a lot of young guys back there, so we're just hoping and betting on some unknowns. I thought that would have been valuable to have on the other side of Diggs, but I am glad ultimately that we got Dak signed. That was the most important thing. We don't have to deal with any off-season drama of going back and forth of will they or won't they. So overall, I'm happy with what they've done this off-season.
Okay. Brennan?
Well, Brent Urban was a huge pickup, and just for Cowboys Twitter, his wife Kate Urban, also a huge pickup. She's a great follow on Twitter. Real fun time. But since Mary took Brent Urban, I think just the fact that we brought over Keanu Neal and DeMonte Casey from Atlanta, Dan Quinn's obviously very familiar with them. It brings in people who are don't have to learn our defense, people who don't have to learn how to communicate with our coach. Keanu Neal, they're saying, is going to play linebacker. DeMonte Casey's going to play safety. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were injuries or anything, if they had to slide Keanu Neal back to safety. I think we're going to have a lot of versatility in our defense overall, but especially with those two players, especially with Keanu Neal. Now that we have Micah Parsons, we're not going to have to rely on Keanu Neal to play linebacker. But I just really enjoy that versatility. We don't have to just be one thing on defense. Other people we've lost, Andy Dalton, I was a little bummed about that. But honestly, if we keep Garrett Gilbert, the damn near Steeler slayer, I'm fine. Anything's better than Cooper Rush, but Garrett Gilbert kind of showed out his one opportunity last year when we were kind of rotating through quarterbacks in a post-Dak world. So I'm all right there. Losing Cheeto, my problem as a Cowboys fan is I just fall in love with my players. So I love Cheeto. I even posted it on Twitter when he signed with the Bengals. This play against the Giants, I think it was 2019, but Saquon Barkley breaks a run for 72 yards on the left side of the field. Cheeto comes from across the right side of the field, chases him down like a cheetah and tackles him. Cheeto just had underrated elite speed, and he got beat sometimes. And I think there were a lot of Cowboys last year who unfortunately got a bad rap just because of how the year went. Jalen Smith is one of them. Tank Lawrence got some bad, and Cheeto also just everyone was in a tough spot last year, and the spotlight got bright on certain people. Everyone knew we were going defense in free agency and defense in draft, so they had an opportunity to re-sign a Jordan Lewis for a lot cheaper than I think Cheeto signed for in Cincinnati. So they let Cheeto go, knowing that they would replace him pretty soon. It's tough, but it's, business of football.
I completely agree, you guys. I mean, yeah, Urban, how could I slip that one? Sorry, but yeah, I guess it was, that one just hurts, man. But you're absolutely right, you guys. I mean, look, right now, I'm not dissing. I'm not. Right now, look, you guys, Trevon Diggs is a freaking beast. I like him a lot, okay? I think he's a good player. And Anthony Brown, another good player. I mean, honestly, your guys' corners aren't bad. I mean, Donovan Wilson, of course, DeMonte Casey. The secondary is not too shabby. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up here. I know time will start getting thin in a few minutes here, but I definitely want to bring this up. Man, look, you two, I'm a defensive end / linebacker, and there's a guy that I respect so much. Unfortunately, the injuries just were, a lot, and it happens. It just happens. Sometimes your body just says, "Hey," well, no, actually, every one of our bodies, of course, just being people, decides one day, "Hey, we're not as young as we used to be no more." So, we need to, not be as crazy as we once were. And as an athlete, well, of course, that definitely happens, for sure. And we know a guy that, well, this did happen to, unfortunately, this past year. And it's a bummer. I don't like it because I loved watching him play, but it's just, like I said, the injuries piled up and he had to call it a career. And that, ladies and gentlemen, Mary and Brendan, was Mr. Sean Lee. So real quick, just show some love, man. Mary, what did Sean Lee mean to this team?
Oh, I mean, Sean Lee, a huge football IQ, an amazing teammate. His body just couldn't keep up with his brain, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he was always injured. There was a time where, for years, when Sean Lee would be injured and be out of the game, like, our defense would completely crumble. You could literally see the defense from the first half to when he was playing to, like, as soon as he came out and they knew he wasn't coming back in, and they would just completely fall apart. And, I mean, it's, and his nickname was the General for a reason, because he literally, led this defense every time he was on the field. His instincts were just ridiculously amazing. I remember this one time he was mic'd up during a game. I can't remember which game it was, but we were doing a goal line stand, and we let him score. And Sean Lee came back to the bench, was asking the coach who called that play because it was the wrong read. And the coach admitted, like, he told the coach what it was supposed to be, and the coach admitted, like, yeah, you're right, I was completely wrong. And it's just crazy how he's on the bench coaching the coaches. Like, that's how ridiculous his football IQ was. So, it was time for him to hang it up, and, he wants to go into coaching in the future, and I think he'll be amazing at it. I hope the Cowboys are smart enough to give him a chance to help a guy like Micah Parsons come along and to continue to help guys like Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith.
I agree. Brendan, what about you, man?
I think the perfect example of who Sean Lee was to this team and the defense, and I remember this so vividly, during this past season before Dak got hurt, that game against the Falcons where we pulled off that just stupid comeback win. Early on, right before the comeback really started, there was a Fox or whoever, they were showing on the sideline. Sean Lee had everyone on the defense huddled around him, and he was just yelling, kind of shouting, just doing that whole rah-rah huddle leader thing. And that's when it started. I'm not saying he did it, but it started turning around from that moment. And I remember it because it's even just at a point where it feels like there's no way we can win this game. Sean Lee is going to inspire these guys to get stops. We haven't been able to stop the Falcons for 2.5 quarters, but we're getting it done. And maybe he was the catalyst for that comeback. Who knows? But I remember thinking that during that whole game, man, the freaking General, dude. He's just a leader among men. And I hate the amount of injuries he had. Me and my friends had a joke. He wears number 50. We would call him Android 50 just because he'd been pieced back together so many times. I love Sean Lee. I hope he stays a Cowboy forever and is coaching this team for years and years to come.
I agree. This guy is a beast, and you can't say enough about him. You really can't. And I mean, just the honor of watching him play was awesome. So yeah, I didn't even know he was that deep. But I mean, when it comes to but then again, of course, veteran presence, it says a lot. But yeah, the general, awesome stuff. Even though that was a nickname, that's amazing, man. I'm just really happy to say that he's definitely called a career. But like I said, his memory on the field is going to be remembered as just a freaking monster, and I do believe as well he will have an amazing coaching career. So with that said, you guys, like I said, time is getting thin, but I wanted to throw that in there as mad respect, of course, to Mr. Sean Lee, freaking amazing linebacker. So congratulations on your career, good sir. The applause button has been hit. So quick and dirty. Once again, we'll start with Mary, but draft. So I just want your quick and dirty hits in the draft. What do you guys think? Give us a grade. So we have here, of course, 12th overall pick, Micah Parsons, of course, linebacker out of Penn State. Very good pickup there. In round 2, Calvin Joseph, another corner, so pretty good player out of Kentucky. I destroy his name every time I say it. Osa Adigawusa, I believe. I don't butcher his name either, but defensive tackle out of UCLA, of course. I know him a little well because, SC, fight on, just saying, but Pac-12 guy. So, Chauncey Golston, defensive end out of Iowa. Deshaun Wright, corner out of Oregon State. You guys picked him up too? No freaking way. Okay, yeah, Jabril Cox, linebacker, LSU. You guys get the picture. So many picks all over the place. Josh Ball, offensive tackle, Marshall. You guys got some good picks here, I believe. So when it comes down to it, go ahead and give us your quick and dirty thoughts, and what you're expecting, and of course, give the Cowboys a grade. So, Mary, go ahead and start off with you.
I like the draft. I think most fans were surprised when we got to our 10th pick, and the guys that most thought would be there for us to get weren't there. Speaking of J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. And so I think the Cowboys were smart when they traded back to get that extra third-round pick. Even though it was with a division rival, that extra third-round pick could be a potential starter at some point this year. And so I think that was smart. You trade back 2 spots and you still get the top defensive player in the draft in Micah Parsons, and you get that extra third-round pick for a pretty needy defense. And, you mentioned Osa. I think he's going to be good for us as a defensive tackle, once again, addressing a position of need for our team. Overall, I think this draft has a potential, to show in a few years that it was probably one of the best drafts that the Cowboys have had in the past 5 years.
I agree. I really liked this draft for the Cowboys. Brendan, what you think?
Well, if there's one thing you can depend on the Cowboys to do well consistently, it's usually drafts. Will McClay and the rest of our scouting department, it's just big brains over there. They know what they're doing. As someone who gets just knee deep in draft season, you kind of fall in love with certain players. So there was a stretch there in the first couple rounds where there's someone else I wish we would have taken. Not in the first round. Once J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain were gone, I was kind of like, whatever. I just want a good defensive player, so I'm fine with Micah Parsons. Kelvin Joseph is cool. Not to bring up your Raiders, Larry, but I feel like a big problem that John Gruden has as someone who drafts is he likes the potential of guys. And I feel like we really kind of went potential heavy with picks like Golston, especially Deshaun Wright. We took some guys early who were like, hey, if they hit, they're going to hit. But, will they hit? I feel like instead of Chauncey Golston, we could have got, not to be a homer, but Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma was sitting right there, who talk about PFF grades. He graded an over 90 in both pass and rush defense. He's just sitting there asking to be selected. You want a defensive end? You want someone who's not a complete project? There are a couple picks in there that there was someone else I would have preferred. But then when you get further down, day 3, Jabril Cox, absolute steal. If we didn't take Micah Parsons in the first round, the Cowboys probably would have took Jabril Cox as one of their top 100 picks. I think they just put off taking him because they're like, okay, we don't need a linebacker anymore. But eventually at 115, when he's staring at you, you're just like, screw it, take it. Jabril Cox was the best cover linebacker in the draft. and that's something that all of the Cowboys linebackers last year completely failed at, was any type of coverage. I'm very interested to see how he gets rotated in this year. Simi Fehoko, the wide receiver out of Stanford, big body, another potential player, but, in the 5th round, I'm cool taking potential. Quentin Bohanna later.
And crazy speed, too, Simi Fehoko.
Yeah. Size, speed, great hair. I mean, he's got everything he needs. And then Quentin Bohanna, the last one I'll talk about, 6th-round pick, a DT out of Kentucky, played with Kelvin Joseph at Kentucky. Just a big, beefy boy that we can line up straight at nose tackle and just say, plug it up, big man. Plug it up. You don't got to get a sack. You don't got to do anything. Just don't let anybody run up the middle on us. So lots of potential in the draft. Defensive heavy, which everyone knew was going to be. I'm going to give it a B- because the talent is there. But how this draft class is remembered depends a lot on potential.
I love it. So with that said, the time is up, but we're going to take a few minutes because I don't give a crap, because we're going to make it work, because you guys are awesome, and I appreciate you so much for being on this show here today. So this is a little segment that I started a couple of years ago, and man, have we had some good ones this week, and I'm just going to tell you right now, this is going to be fun. So this is a little segment I like to call Stick It To 'Em, because let's just be real, in the division, you kind of aren't the most best friends with the other team. So, as I mentioned in the very start of this interview, the NFC East was once the powerhouse of the NFL, but could it be now? Could it still be the powerhouse? Could it come back? We don't know. Well, all I do know for sure is that the Eagles, the Washington football team, and the Giants are, not your guys' best friends, and I think you may have a few choice words for them. So, with that said, this is a little fun segment at the end of the show. Once again, Mary, you will start us off. Give us just a few seconds of kind of how you feel about the rest of the division, just in general, or, of course, going into the season. What do you think about those teams? You can be as mean as you want to. You can be respectful. You can have a mixture of both, however you want to do it. So, with that said, Mary, stick it to them.
So starting with the Giants, I just don't understand how I'm supposed to be afraid of Daniel Jones, who only scored 11 passing TDs in 14 games, and your offensive coordinator is Jason Garrett. There's nothing that they can do in the offseason that can upset me. They got Kenny Galladay, but Daniel Jones has, baby hands, and all he does is fumble or throw interceptions, just like his predecessor in Eli Manning, so not scared. Moving on to the Eagles, it's just a straight dumpster fire. Their new coach was doing rock, paper, scissors with their draft interviews and couldn't decide if they wanted Jalen Hurts to start even after they used a whole 2nd-round pick on him. He's new, and as soon as he messes up, the fans are going to turn on him just like they did everyone else in the history of their franchise when they messed up. Washington, they're just always an afterthought. I don't care how good they think their defense is. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has played for 7 or 8 teams and has still never been to the playoffs. Why am I supposed to be scared of them? Not to mention, their best games against us was when Dak wasn't even playing. Dak is 7-1 against them, so he's like their daddy. So, not afraid of them.
Oh my gosh, Mary, that was. I'll tell you what, you did exactly what this, at least what I always thought that the segment should be. So, Brennan, that's kind of tough to top, but I got some faith in you to sound pretty good, man. Your co-host definitely laid some fire. So, Brennan, have some fun. Stick it to him.
Well, Larry, I'm going to stick it to him by saying I think you're wrong. There's no chance the NFC East becomes a powerhouse again because outside of the Cowboys, we're dealing with a bunch of absolute amateurs, okay? I'm supposed to be worried about the Giants. The quarterback is Danny couldn't hit a dime, all right? I don't care if they signed Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay is a YOLO receiver. He couldn't get separation from a quarterback if they pulled a knife on him, all right? Danny Dimes is going to toss a ball downfield to Kenny Galladay and get it intercepted 9 times out of 10. Washington signed Ryan Fitztragic, and I couldn't give one damn about that quarterback. He's going to be real hot week 4, but week 9 they're going to be bringing in Taylor Heineke again, begging him to save them 2nd year in a row. And the Philadelphia Trashbirds with Jalen Hurts to watch aren't going to do anything but tank on purpose for the second year in a row because they know they don't have what it takes to beat the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Rangers, or anybody in any type of sporting event, right? The fans of Philadelphia are more delusional than ever. I had a grown man try to tell me on Twitter that Jalen Hurts is comparable to Russell Wilson. Stop day drinking, okay? Jalen Hurts is comparable to Tim Tebow at best. I don't want to hear anything from anyone in the NFC East this year if it ain't Dallas Cowboys. Thank you for making us relevant again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. The Cowboys are the first team up. The first team up in this show here today. I got faith in the other teams, of course, but my gosh. Can we get an applause for that? I mean, oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, well, that was pretty nasty. That was pretty mean. But hey, you know what? That's what it's all about, y'all. The rivalry. At the end of the day, it's all love. Well, sometimes, maybe not Mary and Brandon, but for the rest of us, it's all love. You know, we tried to make it that way. But I'll tell you what, that was awesome, you guys. And seriously, what a way to make things, to set the tone for today's show. So with that said, y'all, like I said, we went a little bit over. I don't really give a crap. This was awesome. So with that said, I got about 5 minutes left here. I'm giving you guys the extra 10 minutes total. So, Mary, where can they find you? I know you do some other things, of course, outside of IE Sports Radio. You have another show. Of course, plug the Red River Rush as well, where they can find you. If you do any blog, whatever else you do, please let them know. And the same thing with you, Brennan. You do, of course, anything outside of IE Sports Radio, anything else you do, of course, plug the Red River Rush. Just have fun, guys, and plug yourselves and just show these diehard Cowboy fans where to find you. So, Mary, start us off.
You can find me on Twitter at StarGangBeauty. You'll catch me and Brennan live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central doing the Red River Rush, where we talk about not only the Cowboys, but other sports teams in Texas and Oklahoma, including college. You can catch me and some of my other friends on Star Gang live show on Wednesdays during the off season at 8 p.m. Central. We go live on YouTube and Facebook, and we also have a Facebook group called Star Gang, and we also talk about Cowboys there all through the week during the off season and during the season. So come check us out.
Awesome, Brennan. How about you, man?
I'm just on Twitter. It's Qui-Gon Bren, QUIGONBREN. Talk a lot about sports on there. Talk a lot of wrestling, Star Wars, just whatever I feel like retweeting and commenting on. Of course, hit up the Red River Rush Twitter, at Red River Rush IE. Mary and I are both active on there, kind of sharing everything related to sports in the Oklahoma and Texas region. And then you can find me always throwing horns down because I don't care what the NCAA says. You can't flag me.
I love it. I love it. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, where's the applause button? One more time. This has been Mariella and Brandon Epperson. And if you guys want an entertaining yet, my goodness, entertaining yet extremely informational perspective of Texas and Oklahoma sports from two diehards. This show just started, and it's already like one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's just we gotta get the echo issue down, but we'll get that soon. Regardless, this show is freaking amazing. These two are fire together. It is great stuff, and I love what you guys got going on. So keep it going. Wonderful job as always. And look forward to speaking with both of you coming up in the season. I can't wait till we get some primetime face-offs with both of you guys. Oh my goodness, it is going to be fun. So yeah, be ready for those. And at the end of the day, don't be a Brandon. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm going
to clip that and send it to him. Way to bring it back, Larry.
Poor Brandon. Yeah, that's going to be the shit. I'm saying that should be the theme of Red River Rush. You know what I mean? IE Sports Radio, Red River Rush. Don't be a Brandon. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, literally every week I take one or two digs at him just to make sure he's listening. And then when I start getting the text from him, hey, what the hell? I know it works.
You guys. Well, with that said, you guys, look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you so much for this interview. And there we go. So with that said, you guys, that will do it for the Dallas Cowboys section or segment of this show. When we get back, we've got lots more NFCs coming your way. You're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC, the conclusion of NFC Week, NFC East Day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back.
Motorsports takes many forms, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seen, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. So join me Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan on the WaitAMinuteShow.com. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
Welcome back, football fans. Alrighty, we just got finished talking about those Dallas Cowboys with Mariella and Brandon Epperson, of course, the hosts of our Texas/Oklahoma show here on IE Sports Radio, the Red River Rush. Well, we have yet another duo on today's show. Would be cool if we can continue the duo thing, but of course, coming up, we got Pierre Moss talking about his Giants, and then of course, we got Washington coming up later on. But the duos will have definitely served us well in this show here today. Once again, you're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. This is day number 4 here on NFC week, the conclusion of NFC week here on 8 Divisions in 8 Days, as we get ready to talk about those Philadelphia Eagles. So, with that said, very happy to have them here today. We got both of them in the house, as I mentioned, duos. Glad to have them here. They have had a show here on IE Sports Radio for the last couple of months that has certainly taken off, and I am really, really excited for all the wonderful things coming up with this show. And that show was none other than Philly Sports Talk. So, with that said, you guys, welcoming both of the hosts here of Philly Sports Talk here on IE Sports Radio. We have, of course, first of all, I guess I can just announce them both as super diehard Philly fans in every which way. You want a great Philly show? Please catch them every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on IE Sports Radio. It is going to be a blast. Trust me, they do a great job. So with that said, welcoming those two hosts here today, Mr. Chris Amos and Mr. Bobby Cash. How's it going, you guys? You are very welcome, and it is a pleasure and an honor to have you guys here today. So, this is going to be a lot of fun, man. I want to. The last one was very fiery. Of course, at the end we get to the stick it to 'em segment. We can talk all the crap you want to about the other three teams in the division, and it's just a good time. So, with that said, you guys, let's go ahead and get things started with those Philadelphia Eagles from last year. So, tell us all about it. I guess we can start with Chris, then we'll go Bobby, and then we'll just flip flop throughout the entire show. But starting with you, Chris. What was that?
Well, Larry, the first thing is I want to know why you're doing the Eagles last. Are you trying to say they're going to be last in the division? Is that why?
The Eagles are actually second right now.
Okay.
You guys are. Yeah, we got the Cowboys first, then we got the Eagles next. So, honestly, it's kind of funny. The order of the show this year, and I think it's the way I'm going to do it from now on, is actually just who schedules their interviews first.
Yeah, if you want to talk about what went on last year, I mean, that was I guess, one of the most confusing seasons to watch because what went on with the quarterback situation and also with the coach. I mean, just coming off of a recent Super Bowl, Doug Peterson just seemed like he had lost control of the team. He did not relate well to the media. He just didn't have any explanations for why the team was playing so bad and why the quarterback was playing so bad. A lot of stuff has come out since then, whether it was Carson Wentz's problems or whether it was Doug Peterson's problems. That's up for debate. But it was just a disaster from start to finish last year. I mean, they started off playing Washington. They got up to a big lead early and lost that lead. And ever since then, the team just didn't recover last year, and it ended up with the coach being fired and Carson Wentz being in Indianapolis.
I could have put that any better myself. I mean, Bobby, what about your sum up, man? Do you have any other anything to really add to that?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I look at the NFL and any football team, it all starts and ends with the quarterback. The NFL is a quarterback league. If you look at the past champions, they're all led by Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Very rarely do you see a quarterback like a Trent Dilfer or Joe Flacco win a Super Bowl. When that happens, it's mostly led by the defense. So if you go back to the Eagles, their downfall last year was their quarterback play. Carson Wentz was not on. He was not himself. I don't know if it was the coaching, like Chris said, or if it was just he's lost it. And we're going to find out this year in Indianapolis. He's back with Frank Reich. If he has it still, and if he doesn't have it, I guess that's the Eagles did the right thing in getting rid of him and getting rid of Doug Peterson. So
yeah, that was.
We're going to find out a lot of answers next season.
No, we really are, and this division is such a weird one. As I was talking about in the first segment with Mariella and Brendan Epperson, this was once upon a time the powerhouse division of the NFL. I mean, we're talking early '90s, the biggest, baddest teams in the entire NFL, and now it's like, it's just another division, and so it's like, will we get back to that? Will these teams ever be that strong, all four of them together again, or at least, three of them out of the four? So, moving forward here into the free agency from this past year, this has been an interesting offseason first things first, we all know the big one, the elephant in the room. Carson Wentz on over to the Colts. I mean, some people agree, some people disagree. Can't wait to hear what you guys got to say. But, yeah, that was probably one of, if not the biggest, of course. Deshaun Jackson also, again, second time leaving the Eagles, going on over to the Rams. Malik Jackson heading over to the Browns. I mean, we had some key departures that I thought were, pretty darn big. And then overall, we would have some really big pickups that I thought were pretty darn good. Ryan Kerrigan. Gentlemen, I don't know how you feel about this guy, but I remember seeing him on Monday Night Football a couple years ago just absolutely eat the Raiders' offense like a sandwich. I mean, this guy, and I've watched him ever since, and he is a freaking monster. So it's great to see him, on the move going over to Philly. Great edge rusher there. You guys will acquire, I forgot Marquise Goodwin also over to the Bears, but you guys also acquired Kerryon Johnson out of Auburn. He was, drafted to the Lions a couple years ago, heading on over to you guys. Thought that was a pretty good pickup there. Andrew Adams heading over from the Buccaneers at safety. So really Nick Mullins, that was interesting because don't forget Nick Mullins got his start a couple years back with the Niners, and he got thrown to the Wolves when Jimmy G got hurt, and he actually looked pretty darn good. He's a product of the once famous Two-A-Days show on MTV. Which of course covered the I forgot what the school was called, but they were the Buccaneers or the Bucks in Alabama, and big time school in Alabama, Hoover High School. So I mean, just saying, there's been some big pickups here, and then some key departures. So starting with you, Bobby, go ahead and tell us, man, who were your biggest pickups and your biggest, your biggest drops and pickups of this season?
Okay, well, if you want to start with departures. You mentioned Deshaun Jackson. He's a guy that just can't stay on the field. He's not someone we could bring back. He can't stay healthy. He probably would demand upwards of $5 to $10 million. So you're looking at a salary cap. You couldn't bring back Deshaun Jackson. Malik Jackson. He was just here for a couple years. Really didn't contribute much. He was. We're not really sorry to see him go, especially with bringing Kerrigan in. Now, you mentioned Kerrigan coming in. Kerrigan's kind of going to be a rotation guy. I don't look for him to start out or play every down. He's 31 years old. Yeah, you mentioned he definitely was great a couple years back. He is the Redskins all-time lead sack leader. I just said Redskins. I'll say Redskins until I'm 70 years old. And then also through the draft, the Eagles brought in a running back who I like, who I was going to mention, Kenneth Gainwell. You brought up Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson will probably compete for the third spot. Gainwell is a Darren Sproles type running back out of Memphis, who I liked watching in the AAC. He played against Temple a few times. He's a guy that caught 51 passes, and he rushed for 1,400 yards. So he's a guy I look for to definitely play a lot of third down behind Miles Sanders in the backfield. Look for Miles Sanders probably to get more reps this year. They won't have to use him 20 carries a game.
Absolutely. How about you, Chris? Your key departures and pickups.
Well, Bobby hit on a lot of the interesting points, and I think when you look at the departures, obviously you're going to look at Carson Wentz as being the biggest departure, but the biggest pickup is going to be glaring is Coach Nick Sirianni. I mean, that I know not so much as a pickup as a player, but I mean as a new first-year head coach, that's going to be a person to just keep an eye on and see what's going on with him. And I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be a guy who can come in and fill the shoes of Doug Peterson or not. And it looks like now some of the reports that have been coming out, and especially recently on ESPN, there's been some trouble with a lot of the players thinking that he's kind of not with it or isn't up to speed as a coach, and they're having some problems there. At least that's what was reported this week. But the other thing, too, is, and I think sometimes it can be that elephant in the room, it might be that pickup that has been rumored. Deshaun Watson has been rumored to be a possible landing spot for the Philadelphia, a place where he may land in Philadelphia, and I don't know how Bobby feels about that. We really haven't talked about it.
That is huge. My goodness. I mean, I will say, and I can't wait for you guys to stick it to him in a little bit. I don't know if you guys are going to be respectful gentlemen or just mean, nasty Eagles fans, but I think it's fun to always have a mixture of both, or however you want to do it. But earlier, Brandon Epperson, a Cowboys fan, when he did his Stick It To Him segment for the Eagles, I can't quote exactly what he said, but my goodness, it was a good one, cold-blooded. But he said, Jalen Hurts. He says, Eagles fans, if you think he said, I heard this man saying one time that Jalen Hurts was like the second Russell Wilson. He says the only thing Jalen Hurts is comparable to is the next Tim Tebow, which was like, whoa, like that's cold. So, yeah.
He's obviously not watching the football because Jalen Hurts has an arm, unlike Tim Tebow. Jalen Hurts can throw the ball. He can throw the ball moving to his right. He can scramble. He is closer to a Russell Wilson than a Tim Tebow, and I mean it wants to be seen still.
How many playoff games has Dak Prescott won?
Yeah, exactly.
One.
When's the last time they won the Super Bowl? What, 95?
Yeah, 95, 96 season.
When was the last time it was talked about that the Dallas Cowboys have a great team and a team that should be competing for a championship? That's every year. That's said about the Dallas Cowboys. And what are they? 8-8, 9-7, 7-9 in the playoffs and out real quick. Look, I understand that there's injuries that can happen, and the Prescott injury that happened recently really set the Cowboys back. And of course, that's going to hurt any team in the NFL if their starting quarterback goes down. But it wasn't so much that Dallas was making any championship push anyway with the few years that he was in there, and they were losing home playoff games.
That's an ouch. Absolutely, man. So see, as we can see,
Jalen Hurts are a half top like the Cowboys running back.
I am loving this. I can't wait for Stick It To Him at the end of the segment. But, gentlemen, let's move forward here to the draft. This is going to be fun. I'll tell you what, man. There were some draft picks in the last couple of years that I really liked for the Eagles. And this year, I would love to see what you guys got to say. So let's take a quick look at the draft. Devontae Smith, of course, he was the all-star at Alabama. I mean, the guy caught everything that went his way. And, of course, with the 10th overall pick, you guys pull the trigger and pick him up. I love the pick. Landon Dickerson, big boy out of Alabama. I really love the fact that you guys are addressing what needs to be addressed. You know, you need the playmaker wide receivers, but you also need the big monsters to help keep your quarterback upright, whoever that may be this season. So I thought that was pretty big. Milton Williams, defensive tackle out of Louisiana Tech, a big boy there to help out, as you said earlier, about Kerrigan. But, hey, who knows? Maybe they just have a full rotation going on with the defensive line. But Zeke McPherson, corner out of Texas Tech. So, you guys just keep on going. Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. And Memphis was a pretty solid team in the last couple of years. So I'm not going to talk about everybody here in the draft, but I want to know your guys' thoughts of the roles you think these guys are going to play coming in, if you even think some of them are going to stick around. So, and then, of course, give us a draft grade if you would like to. So we'll start with you, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised that they went with Devontae Smith in the first round. That was the obvious pick, and usually the Philadelphia Eagles do everything against what the obvious pick is, but picking him was the best thing to do. It's going to be a matter of whether he can do what he's been known for in college, and that is catching the ball and being able to avoid tackles in the NFL. And he is a guy who, when he gets hit, it looks like every hit he takes the maximum impact, but that's because he only weighs about 175 pounds. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, he's exactly what the Eagles need, and he's going to be obviously the target for Jalen Hurts going forward. Now with Dickerson taking him, the Eagles are addressing the need there. I just disagree with that person being the pick because of his injury history. If he's having multiple knee injuries, surgeries, ACL injuries, and things like that in college, he's going to be getting pushed around by even bigger men and more experienced men in the NFL. And it just looks like it's one of those things to where, okay, yeah, he's a big guy and can play center, but is he going to be a guy who can be healthy? Eagles are going to need someone in that position to be healthy.
I like it. Good stuff there.
Other than that, the running back that they took absolutely addresses a need. And it's someone who, if the Eagles' line is going to be anything that it's being purported to be, running backs should fit in very nicely behind that line.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that was some other big needs there that were definitely addressed in this draft. So, what about you, Bobby? What about you? What do you think?
Well, I think Devontae Smith was a gift for the rest of the NFL. I was definitely pleased that he fell to the Eagles. I was a big fan of his in college. I like Chris said, the main thing's going to be his health. If he can stay on the field, he's a number one receiver for many years to come. He's a guy that definitely replaces Deshaun Jackson. And along with Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham, it gives you three receivers that complement each other. And you got Travis Fulgham, who is a possession type receiver, and you have Jalen Reagor, who now will have space created by Devontae Smith being out. That's definitely a great pickup. Same, just to repeat what he said about Landon Dickerson, he's definitely an injury concern. If he can stay healthy, he's a first-round pick that you got in the second round. After that, it's a bunch of question marks. I do love Gainwell, like I said earlier. The rest of the guys, they're just position fillers. You got yourself a cornerback, you got yourself a defensive tackle. Guys that won't see the field in the first 2 years, but they could develop. So overall, I think it was a B draft.
I thought so. Okay, pretty good. And sorry, I thought it was a pretty good draft.
I would give the draft a C, only from the standpoint of the fact that it can be moved up. It can be moved up to a B plus if Dickerson turns out to be a person who can stay healthy and play in the NFL.
That's fair. That's fair because you're right. Injury concern, and honestly, that's just a big thing. I want to go off of what you said, Chris, a little bit ago, because I love it, Bobby. There seems to be a lot of enthusiasm about Smith. And you're absolutely right though when it comes to, and Chris, you're absolutely right when it comes to the durability, because you're right. I mean, it's the jump from college is ridiculous. The jump from high school to college is incredible. The jump from college to the NFL, I mean, it's just it's something that is just, you have to be elite in college. So Devontae Smith was definitely at the elite level, but once again, you're right. He's going to be pushed around by even bigger, tougher, stronger men in the NFL. So, I guess all depends on how that weighs out, but I can see that. So with that said, let's take a quick look at the depth chart, you guys, because I want to look at this team moving forward now. So, of course, Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco's hanging around over there at quarterback. We have Nick Mullins that's here, So your three QBs at the moment. Miles Sanders, of course, glad to have him there. Let's see, Fulgham, you guys have Reagor, of course. A couple wide receivers here. Zach Ertz is still around. Dallas Goedert, of course, is at the tight end spot as well. The offensive line, not too bad. I mean, they're, Lane Johnson, I would fill, and Jason Kelsey, definitely two big pieces of this offensive line. Then you look at the defense over here. Fletcher Cox, man, one of the best three techniques in the NFL. I love watching this guy play. He's a freak of nature. Hargrave, of course. I really love the interior. The entire defensive line is pretty solid. Then we look at the pickups that were made. As for the linebacker core, Bradley Wilson, Singleton, and then we look at the secondary. And I guess what stands out to me the most was Darius Slay. Didn't get along with Coach Patricia over at in Detroit, and he ends up making his way out and going to the Eagles. And now I just feel like if they can continue to build around this guy, that's going to be a pretty scary secondary, at least in my opinion. I like Slay. I like how he plays. He's very aggressive. But once again, that's totally, different coming from diehards like yourselves with the Eagles. So, Bobby, we'll start with you this time. What are we looking at? What do you, at each of these positions, all these teams, what roles do you think, certain guys are going to play? Do you feel this team is strong enough to make a strong playoff push? And what are you really expecting this year out of this team?
Start with me? I didn't know.
Yes?
Yeah. Well, I can start where you ended with Darius Slay. He's where you start and finish with the secondary. They really have him and no one else right now. It's going to have to be I guess you're going to have to look to other teams who they waive, maybe pick up a veteran. Back to the quarterback, like Chris said earlier, Deshaun Watson is a possibility for this team right now. There's only probably 3 landing spots in the NFL, and if you look at the Eagles, I think you may look at the Green Bay Packers after Aaron Rodgers leaves there, and either maybe the Saints or the Patriots. There's not many spots for Watson. Now, the Eagles, it's going to be tough because you have the $30 million cap hit with Carson Wentz. So Howie Roseman is good with the cap, but he'll have to do some moving around. So I don't think the Eagles roster as it sits now is the final roster by a long shot. There is a lot of moving around still to come. And, Aaron Rodgers is still a guy that's going to be out there too. I mean, where's he going to end up? If you don't, maybe the Raiders. I was thinking. What about you, Larry?
Man,
Aaron Rodgers.
I wouldn't even. We talked about Packers fan. I talked about Packers fan yesterday and recorded his interview. And my goodness, man. Quick sidebar. I mean, he said Derek Carr would be in that trade, which I wouldn't have a problem with that. But my goodness, man. I mean, to think if that were to actually happen, to think my team would be relevant for the first time in I don't know, almost 20 years, it would be awesome. So I'm just saying, yeah. But
well, no, I hear that Rodgers is going to come to the Sixers for Ben Simmons.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm just
I love this.
He'd be a quarterback that won't throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely.
No, but what Bobby was touching on is a very important thing because the Eagles have had struggles over the years recently here, and especially even going back to the year where they ended up winning the Super Bowl, they still had some struggles with that secondary, and Darius Slay is a guy who last year had plenty of struggles as well. And it's one of those things to where it just seems like throwing against the Philadelphia Eagles is not something that teams fear because they were not getting the pass rush that they needed. And, of course, their secondary was not good enough and had enough holes in it. So long pass plays were something that the Philadelphia Eagles were giving up on a regular basis. So that does need to be addressed, and I don't think it was addressed properly to this point. And I don't know, when you look at it, I mean, I guess the best offense is a good defense, and the defense is still a big question mark in my mind for this team going forward.
Well, I can see that as well, and this team, I don't know, it's crazy because it's a couple years ago, you raised the Lombardi, and we all know teams fall apart, things happen, but man, just what a journey this team has had in the last 4 years, and it's been 4 years now since they've earned that Lombardi, and I just felt like the Eagles are, there's certainly a lot to build off of again, but my goodness, I mean, it's just I feel that the Eagles right now have a good young core. Once you just figure a few things out, I like what you said, Bobby, that this isn't even close to the final roster for this season, because it's true. This team has a lot of potential. There's a lot to build off of. And there's a lot of pieces on this roster that I feel are very strong and that can actually, they're the cornerstones for sure of making that next strong team for the Eagles. And I seriously feel like it can happen. So, so with that said, gentlemen, this is the fun part. I mean, it's all fun. Don't get me wrong. I love this. This was great. This has been awesome. But this is always just the ending part that's like, oh my gosh, this is great. So as you heard earlier, Brandon Epperson's choice words for you guys, talking about relating Jalen Hurts to Tim Tebow. Well, now is your guys' turn to have some fun with the rest of the division. Of course, the NFC East, one of the nastiest divisions when it comes to rivalries. My goodness, the rivalries in this division are insane. So let's have some fun. Once again, you can be respectful about it. You can talk some crap. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just have some fun and do it, guys. So with that said, it is time to stick it to them. So talk about the other three teams in the division, what you think about them, moving forward into this season. And, if you want to, give some props. If not, talk some mad crap. Whatever you guys want to do, you guys do. So, Bobby, we'll start off with you, man. Stick it to him.
Hey, you want me to start? I'm going to go through each team. Start with the Cowgirls. The Cowgirls are a team that, like Chris said, they disappoint every season. And who's to say this year is going to be any different? They're a team that has a quarterback that is coming off a big injury. He's a quarterback that doesn't win. And that's all there is to it. He's not a winner. He's never been a winner. They have a running back getting older, Ezekiel Elliott. He wears a shirt that only covers half his upper body. You got the Giants. They have a quarterback that Daniel Jones, who he's not ready. for prime time. Saquon Barkley also coming off an injury, good player, definitely an all-pro if he's healthy. No defense at all. They're probably a 5-win team. And you got the Washington football team. They don't even have a name. How long does it take to make a name? Really? They can't pick a name of a franchise in 3 seasons? That's insane. They have a good defense, though. They do have a good defense. Good defensive line. Offense, they have nothing. Talk about Jalen Hurts being a bad quarterback. They don't even have a quarterback.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Dwayne Haskins going forward, garbage. I'm not even on the team anymore, Dwayne Haskins. What am I talking about, Dwayne Haskins?
Well, beautiful job there, Bobby. That was awesome, man. So, Chris, it is your turn, man. Stick it to him.
Yeah, well, when you think of teams, and you mention a team's name, you always want to have that one person who pops out. So when you talk about the Washington football team, I mean, who pops out to them other than their coach Ron Rivera? So that's not saying too much about the players that they have. Same thing when you go to the Giants. Who's going to come out? Daniel Jones. If he's the first person who pops out when you think of the New York Giants, you might as well think of them closer to being the New York Jets than the New York Giants. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, always in the forefront of the Dallas Cowboys is the owner, Jerry Jones. And the best thing that can happen on a Sunday night, or a Monday or Thursday is a look on Jerry Jones' face of disappointment after the Cowboys just lost another game. That's something I always look forward to every year, and I know it's going to happen again this year. When you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, the only thing I can say is, hey, you look at them, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Devontae Smith, you got some good talent there, young talent that hopefully, maybe not this year, but in a year or two, we're going to look back maybe right here on this podcast that took place, on this conversation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. You're going to hear Bobby Cash and Chris Amos saying Philadelphia Eagles are the team of the future of the NFC East. The other teams are heading downhill. The Eagles are heading up.
Oh my gosh, I had to hit the applause button there. But gentlemen, I'm loving it. And man, I'm so freaking glad you guys are part of this network, man. I mean, absolutely, man. You guys' show is incredible. Your guys' input is incredible. And the best part about it is you guys haven't even hit full stride on Eagles at all. Right now, you guys were Sixer heavy. Now you guys are very Phillies heavy. And I love it because
who just won on a walk-off by JT Real Muto, by the way.
Oh man, great stuff. See, I mean,
2 games back.
Gentlemen, yeah, I love it. You guys are the complete sports show package. I mean, seriously, like I said last time, if Philadelphia had an arm wrestling team, you guys would be covering it. I mean, it's incredible, man. Like, you guys just...
Hey, the Union had a big win over Washington last night, 2-1, just to throw that out there as well, since we're talking football.
Check
hey,
that.
We already have the team name, Larry. I told you before, if you want to start an arm wrestling team, Philadelphia Biceps.
I love it. Gentlemen, this has been awesome, and I certainly appreciate your time, man. This has been such a great segment, and I thank you guys absolutely. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, I know it's tweaking things around and getting all these drops made and everything, but gentlemen, thank you so much again. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Cash and Chris of Philly Sports Talk here at IE Sports Radio. You're directly for all the sports. Go ahead and give yourselves that plug, y'all. I definitely want you guys reaching out there. Where can all these Philly fans who don't know, which I don't know how they wouldn't, where can they find you? Go ahead and start us off, Chris. Where can they find you at, man?
What you want to do is you want to hit us up on Twitter. You can find us both on Twitter at Chris Amos, or you can also find at Bobby Cash, or on Twitter you can find Philly Sports Talk with the connection to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And of course, on Spreaker, you can find us at Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, and Tuesday nights on IE Sports Radio, 8 p.m. following Red River Rush. We're there every week.
I'm loving it. Great stuff. Bobby, where can they find you?
Find us every Tuesday night live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can listen to us talk Philly sports. Now we're talking Philly food after last week.
Oh, man.
And we'll be talking, this 70s week coming up. We're talking about, I guess we'll go back to the Phillies of the 70s, the Veterans Stadium. You can look me up on Twitter, Bobby Cash 215. You Look up the show, Philly Sports Talk IE, Chris Amos, at Chris Amos. You can find us everywhere. So, listen to our podcast on Apple.
Awesome.
This week will be our 20th episode, by the way.
Oh man, so you guys.
And we love everyone who contacts us, whether you're fans or haters. We love y'all.
It couldn't have been said any better. So, gentlemen, I'm so excited. Unfortunately, and actually, the food won, Bobby. So no 70s week. It's gonna be Hungry for Sports Week in about a month here on iSports Radio. But we're gonna.
70s didn't win? I thought the 70s won.
Nope, 70s didn't win. I know. We'll be getting to that soon coming up, man. We'll get into, hopefully that wins the vote.
I'm going to get the ABBA music out and everything.
Oh crap! Oh, you guys are too much. With that said, gentlemen, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evenings, you guys. Take care, God bless, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon.
See you, Larry. Thank you.
Take care, guys. All right, y'all. That will do it for this segment here with Cash and Chris. Man, what a great show. Those two guys, man, I love it. They certainly do a wonderful job every single week. So I appreciate them so much for being a part of this. And, well, there you have it. Some Eagles talk. And there you have it. Next up, we got Pierre Moss with those New York Giants coming your way. You are listening to 3 in Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. The conclusion of NFC week right here on IE Sports Radio, NFC East Day. Once again, on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be right back after this.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for the latest on Northern California sports? Then take a trip out west with me, your host, Gina G, on Reppin' the NorCal Sports, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be bringing it to you all the way live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's always a packed show. I'll bring you everything Dynastic 49ers, the bite of the San Jose Sharks, torture of the San Francisco Giants, the Golden State Warriors that we still believe. Then take you across the bay to the rise and grind of the Oakland A's. I've got you covered on college ball from the Cal Bears to the Stanford Cardinal, so that no matter what, reppin' in NorCal sports is always reppin' the Bay. So if you bleed red and gold, or you're looking to keep an eye out west in them thar hills, don't miss me, Gina G, on reppin' in NorCal sports. Catch me every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll have your fandom repped harder than a trio of defenders guarding Stephen Curry before his buzzer beater is Gucci.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Wait a Minute Show.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan? Indeed.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we go. Just finished up with Cash and Chris of Philly Sports Talk, and right before them, Mary Ella and Brandon Epperson of the Red River Rush. And wouldn't you know it, we got another one of our shows going on here. He is co-host of the show that never sleeps, covering all things New York and New Jersey. And the guy is just a class act, man, from start to finish. One of the best, and I mean this wholeheartedly, one of the absolute best color commentators you will ever find. I mean, the man literally makes you feel like you're at the game when you listen to one of his calls on WSR. Just an amazing job he does all the time. Longtime member of IE Sports Radio, the founding member of the Soccer Scoreboard Show. He is the founder of course, Wellington Sports Radio, his network, one of our sister stations here at iSports Radio, along with USRN, Ultimate Sports Radio. And just all around great man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming him back for his up-team time here on 3 and Out, and definitely not his last. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pierre Moss. What's going on, Pierre? How you doing today, brother? You are very welcome, man. And I'm just speaking the truth, man. You're doing a great job all the time, and I couldn't be more blessed than to have you a part of this network, man.
Hey, thanks again, and it's a blessing to be a part of this network. God bless you.
Hey, well, the appreciation goes both ways, man. Thanks again. And yeah, Pierre's been a part of IE Sports Radio since its founding year in 2014, you guys. So it's been a great 7 years, and Pierre, we're going to enjoy plenty more.
Absolutely.
That's right, man. So let's start things off, man. So we just had some fun the last two segments talking Cowboys first, then Eagles. Now it's Giants time. Then we're going to the Washington football team to end off the show. But man, it has been crazy. I mean, the Stick It To 'em segment is just getting crazier. And you know it's crazy from both the Cowboys fans and from the Eagles fans. Because you'll get a chance to stick it to him in a little bit. But Pierre, my goodness, I just feel like the disrespect, man. Everyone is targeting Daniel Jones. Everyone's saying that he's not even the guy to be a quarterback. I mean, my goodness. I mean, the man's got 2 master's degrees. I thought he was pretty okay, but I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll have some thoughts on it. But let's take a quick look here at last season. So speaking of that, we'll build off of that right now. Last season, go ahead and walk us through last season as a Giants fan. What were you thinking?
Really, last season, season, I look at the Giants season as a whole, and really, I look at it as a whole as a young team, especially early on in the season, that didn't know how to finish games. Because the Giants had a bad start to the season, but if you go deeper inside that bad start, those are very winnable games for the Giants. But they just didn't know how to finish. And they're bringing a head coach for the first time. They just didn't know how to finish. But then all of a sudden, they go on a hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
They get to 5-7 after they upset the Seahawks in Seattle. They're in first place with a chance to win a division with 4 games left to play, but they end up going 1-3 in the last 4 games. And even with going 1-3 in the last 4 games, okay, had the Eagles beaten the Redskins, the Washington football team in Week 17, the Giants head to the playoffs as the NFC East champion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how weird and crazy this division was in 2020. I mean, and think about it. Even had Dallas beat the Giants in Week 17, and the Eagles beat Washington football team in Week 17, it would have been the Cowboys going to the playoffs as an NFC champion. So it would have been a losing record, but hey, it is what it is. So, but getting back to the Giants, yeah, I mean, I definitely look at them as a team that did not know how to finish games, especially early on in the season. Saquon Barkley getting hurt early in the season, that did not help matters because that definitely affected Daniel Jones. Offensive line play, it improved in 2020, but it can still get better going into the 2021 season. And you can really see that as far as the passing game is concerned, they really didn't have that number one target. Well, they took care of that in the offseason by going out and Keenan Allen. Defensively, this was a playoff-ready defense on all 3 levels, the D-line, the linebackers, and the secondary. Secondary especially. I think going into this season, that secondary could be one of the best in the NFL, and they got better by going out and getting Adoree Jackson from Tennessee. He'll play slot corner most likely, which is perfect. But yeah, I mean, just go back to 2020. I look at it as an opportunity that the Giants had to finish games, but they just didn't know how to early on being a young team. So now going to 2021, those close games you had, you want to turn those into wins. And really, the Giants ended up 6-10, but it could have easily been reversed. It could have easily been 10-6 last season.
You know, that is very, very. I mean, really, some people may call me crazy, but you know what, man? I really agree with that to the fullest. And of course, I'm calling you crazy, Pierre. I'm just saying, you know, you're a diehard, you love your team. You know, I mean, it could be biased, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like there's any bias in that because it's exactly correct. I mean, the NFC East, you know, and I've been saying it all throughout this show, the NFC East is, you know, it was once the powerhouse. You know, it was once the powerhouse division of the NFL. We're talking early 90s here. Even in the 80s into the 90s, my goodness, this was just a complete powerhouse. And unfortunately, for this division, it just kind of fell apart. And last year was one of its worst. And it's crazy to think. You're absolutely right. These teams were so unpredictable last year. If the football would have bounced a couple different ways last year for the Giants in their season. You're right. You're absolutely right. We could have been talking about a 10-6 team. It's just some things didn't go their way, and this is incredible to think that. Yeah, I mean, with as bad as the division really was as a whole, I mean, it was really anybody's. It was really anybody's division, and I mean, the Washington football team won it, and they weren't even that. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to make anybody mad here, but they really weren't all that great either. It's just. Everybody else just had their blips. And so, yeah, I completely agree, Pierre. I completely agree. And certainly got some great stuff there and always great insight from you, Pierre. So let's take a look here at the free agent signings, man, because there has definitely been some key acquisitions, some key departures So we take a look at overthecap.com and take a look at this past year, man. So, of course, keeping Leonard Williams was awesome. I thought that was huge. Keeping that big boy. Keeping Nate Soldier, of course, another big monster there. You got a big defensive lineman, your big right tackle. You guys will gain Kevin Zeitler. I thought that was really big for you guys. I'm sorry. Kevin Zeitler will go on over to the Ravens. That was a really big loss, in my opinion, because, I mean, pretty big part of that offensive line. You guys would have some more departures. John Ross heading on over to, pickup here. John Ross heading over to the Giants, which is pretty cool, from the Bengals. Danny Shelton, a big boy here from the Lions, heading on over to the Giants here. Cameron Fleming. This is, I don't know. I really want to know your thoughts on this one, really, Pierre. I want to know what you think about that, him heading over to the Broncos. Adoree Jackson. This is one of my favorite pickups of the entire offseason in any team because, of course, I'm an SC guy. But Adoree Jackson, the guy was amazing when he played SC. He did pretty darn good with the Titans, and now look at, here he is now going to the Giants. I thought that was pretty darn big there. David Mayo going over to the Washington football team. Also, Colt McCoy will be heading over to the Cardinals. So some of these big, some of these not too big. But another pickup that I really like a lot, Reggie Ragland. Remember him out of Alabama, heading over from the Lions as well to the Giants. Another, big pickup there. Galladay, also from the Lions, heading over to the Giants. So I'm just saying, there has been a lot of big pickups. Ifeadi Ogundigbo, but I don't want to butcher his name either, but he is a very good edge rusher heading over to the Giants. So just saying, man, there has been some big pickups. Give me your biggest pickups and biggest departures and why.
I would say the big pickup, definitely Kenny Galladay for sure. Another big one, Adoree Jackson. I would say those are probably two of the biggest pickups the Giants had in the offseason. And as far as departure, I would say Dalvin Tomlinson. He'd lose a guy like him. But, I mean, we signed with so many people. Zeitler, that's a big loss as well, but he was cut through tackles. They almost had to do it. So I can understand why they did it. But, yeah, I mean, those are some of the biggest additions and biggest departures.
I agree. And what about Fleming, man? I mean, there was like a love-hate with some of the people in the Twitter groups and everything this year talking about the Giants and everything. And, I mean, really, what do you think, man? Do you think Fleming is just better off somewhere else? Or do you think, you guys could have given him more of a chance there? I mean, really, what do you think?
I mean, Fleming was all right. I mean, nothing to write home about, to be honest with you. And that position could probably be upgraded to free agency or the draft. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, as far as Cameron Fleming is concerned, nothing really to write home about, to be honest.
Okay, well, good stuff there. And let's take a look at your guys' draft. So overall, man, I thought your draft was actually pretty cool. This year, Kadarius Toney, that was a very nice pickup. I liked a lot for you guys. A big-time receiver out of Florida, picking him up. Then Azeez Ojulari, I don't butcher his name either, but linebacker out of Georgia, SEC linebacker, very, very potent linebacker. I mean, he's, I think, probably one of the best linebackers to come out of Georgia since Raquan Smith. So, very great player there. Corner Aaron Robinson out of UCF. And it just continues to go on. Ellerson Smith out of linebacker out of Northern Iowa. You see you're clearly trying to rebuild that linebacker core. So with that said, I'm not going to go into every one of them, but talk about your draft real quick, Pierre. Talk about what you thought as the draft was going. Did you like these picks? Do you feel the Giants could have done better? Did they address the needs? And, of course, give them a draft grade.
I thought the draft was pretty good. Especially the first couple of picks. Ojulari is an absolute stud. They could slot him in right away as one of those pass rushing outside linebacker types, being that Giants are in the 3-4. He can even slide as a 4-3 defensive end as well if need be. I love the Kadarius Toney pick. Definitely brings a lot of speed from that slot receiver position. He can also help out in the return game as well. Played a lot of big time football as did Ojulari, so definitely want guys to have that big game experience. As far as a draft grade overall, I would probably give the Giants to be as far as draft grade overall.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I feel like right now, these Giants, man, there's a lot of promise looking forward right now. I just feel like if this team were to, just continue to build the way they've been building, I mean, really, sky's the limit, I mean, like I said, there's been a lot of disrespect to Daniel Jones in this show, but realistically, I don't think he's quite bad. I think, he's just somebody who's got to grow, but really, I mean, what do you really think right now, man? So let's go ahead and take a look at the Giants depth chart, because there are some things that I definitely got to ask. Well, we can take a look at this team moving forward, but Daniel Jones, of course, is the man at the top right now. His job to lose during training camp. Mike Glennon, Clayton Thorson behind him. Of course, Saquon Barkley being the man. But, before we go any further on to the rest of the depth chart, Pierre, what is it, man? Daniel Jones, a couple years in now. What do you think, really? I mean, have you seen enough from him to think that, he's got room to grow, we like him, he can definitely be that next guy for us? Or have you seen enough of him to where it's like, yeah, I have seen enough, he's good, but we're just kind of waiting for that next big quarterback to come out and make a move on him? I mean, what are you really thinking right now as a fan?
He does have room to grow. I do like Daniel Jones. He brings a lot to the table. Very mobile quarterback, which we're not used to seeing as Giants fans at our quarterback position, but very mobile quarterback. Two of his biggest things, he needs to stay healthy, and he needs to continue to cut down on the turnovers, because that was definitely a problem, especially this season with the fumbles and whatnot. But again, it's going to be up to the Giants' offensive line to keep Daniel Jones clean. It's going to also be up to the offensive line to open up running lanes to Saquon Barkley. The more running lanes Saquon Barkley has, the easier it will be to throw for Daniel Jones in the passing. And he's got plenty of weapons in that passing game to be able to throw the ball to. In fact, I think this is the most weapons he will have had since he's been the Giants starting QB. I mean, guys like Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Toney, Evan Ingram. There's a lot there, and Darius Slayton, to name a few. But so there's a lot there. There's a lot there for Daniel Jones to work with, but his offensive line has to keep him upright. You got to keep him healthy, and when he does go to run, he's got to make sure that he slides in time so he avoids taking those big hits or get out of bounds in time so he avoids taking those big hits. And that's how I feel about Daniel Jones. I mean, pressure's on. Pressure's on. I mean, he needs to have a big year. He needs to have a big year. He needs to make that leap from young QB to established starter as a QB.
I can see that. I really do. And I like your thoughts on him, because he definitely has room to grow. Good athlete. It's just the crappy part is, will it happen with this offensive line? And that's the tough part. I mean, you guys, of course, brought in Shane Lemieux. Pretty good player here.
Love that pickup.
Great pickup, man. I mean, he overtook, from what looks like on the depth chart, he overtook Will Hernandez. And, I really liked Will Hernandez coming in, man. I did. I remember talking about his senior year at UTEP, man. They went 0-12. That was pretty crazy. It wasn't his fault. He's a heck of an athlete, but, maybe he just wasn't the guy. He's moved to second string. It looks like, at least according to this ESPN New York Giants depth chart. But, that was, a big move. But realistically, I mean, Nate Soldier is really the only guy who I think, I mean, at least I don't know my offensive lineman too good, but, that's a household name, and I just feel like hopefully, Lemieux can also be that another big part, and who knows, maybe Will Hernandez gets it in gear, and I don't know, Gates, Fulton, and Pert, I don't know much about them, but at this point in time, it's just like, who can do what, who can help out, but the rest of the team, man, Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, I mean, pretty good wide receiver core. Evan Ingram, of course, another very good player here. Elijah Penny at fullback. I like what you guys got going on the defense, man. I mean, really, this defensive line, Lawrence, Shelton, Williams, and Carter. I'm sorry, no, you guys run the 34. Lawrence, Shelton, and Williams, of course, and two outside. Now adding Ragland And you guys have Bradbury. I mean, really, I like it a lot. Blake Martinez, longtime Packer, is over there, as the general right now, playing one of the middle linebacker, one of the inside positions. And Aziz Ajurale, I almost said, I don't butcher his name either, but very great pickup there. I really feel like he is going to be a huge help. And then, there's a player on your team. I don't even know where he went, but now that I see him on the depth chart, I like him a lot, man. Jabril Peppers. He came out a couple years ago as one of those guys. I remember him being referred to as a tweener one time between a backer and a safety. Regardless, the guy is extremely good. I really like his ability, and I feel like, instead of people trying to say, oh, he's just a tweener, we don't know what he is or whatever, no, I mean, use that to your advantage. You have a free safety that's big enough or, tough enough to play linebacker. I mean, not saying that's strong safety. Not trying to say he's weak or anything, but my goodness, throw him down at linebacker or put him down in the box more. I mean, use him to your advantage. You got him now, or I guess, of course, safety. I mean, that 34 defense is very versatile. It's a guessing game defense, as I like to call it. Somebody comes from anywhere. Pressure can come from anywhere. This is zone blitzes and everything. There's lots of great things you can do with that. But looking at this, Logan Ryan, that's pretty big. Remember him playing for the Titans? I think he was over with the Patriots for a while. Now he's a Giant. Of course, Adoree Jackson being there and Bradbury as well. I mean, overall, this is a pretty dang good defense, like as you said. And overall, looking forward, Pierre, what are we really looking at, man? Looking forward, I mean, into this season, what do you really think? I mean, the roster seems like it's there, at least on the defensive side. And I know offense is probably, what you're going to say is the big thing. But when it comes down to it, man, what are you looking for right now? What are you looking forward to? What do you think this team is capable of doing this year?
I mean, if they play the same level of defense they played last season, they'll be fine. They'll be fine, no question. And really, the offense has got to get going here. I mean, honestly, 17-game schedule. I could see 9 or 10 wins. Looking at their schedule, I can see 9 or 10 wins coming out of that. I can see 9 or 10.
Okay, and I think so. I think that's fair to say. I really like what this team's got going on, and yeah. So with that said, Pierre, it has been an honor as always having you a part of the show, brother. But we got one more segment to get to, man, and that of course is Stick It to 'em. Have some fun, man. As I said, it seems the running theme is just running all over Daniel Jones. I mean, the Cowboys and the Eagles fans, man, they do not think he's the guy, and they keep on just throwing shade on him. We haven't had the Redskins yet. Sorry, I said it. Oh, curse jar is in it. I got the Redskins jar, but no, Washington, we haven't had that fan yet. But anyway, with that said, what do you think, Pierre? You can be mean and nasty. You can be good and respectful, and nice and respectful, however you want to be right in the middle. But let us know, man. Let everybody know what you feel, of course, about the rest of the division, what they can do this year, and then, of course, just as a fan, what you're really thinking right now about this team. So what about these teams? And with that said, Pierre, stick it to them.
I mean, honestly, the rest of the division, the Giants can do very well against the rest of this division this year, provided they stay healthy and provided the guys that need to produce, obviously produce. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, it's going to be all about the health of Dak Prescott, and it's going to be all about that defense. That defense, let's be honest, was porous last season. That defense couldn't stop a nosebleed last year. On that side of the ball, as far as the Eagles are concerned, they had issues. Really, both sides of the ball. So much so that they ended up trading Carson Wentz to Indy. And now they have Jalen Hurts as a guy. We'll see what he does in year 2. But they have offensive line issues as well. They need to do some rebuilding there. Defensively, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I don't even know their identity on defense. I mean, for years, the identity of the Eagles' defense was a tough, blitzing, physical defense. Right about now, I don't know what their identity is going to be on defense. So that'll be interesting. That'll remain to be seen. As far as Washington, their defense is nasty. No question about it. Led by Chase Young and Josh Allen and others. That defense is nasty. They can certainly play on that side of the ball, especially in the front 7. They're concerned defensively. Definitely that's secondary. That's where their concern is as far as defensive. offensively, Terry McLaurin had himself a very nice rookie year. We'll see exactly what they do at the quarterback position, replacing Alex Smith. And, definitely a lot more questions on offense from Washington than on defense. On defense, they're stacking that front seven. Like I said, the secondary will be an issue. So that's how I feel about the rest of the NFC East. And the Giants, if they take care of their business, everybody stay healthy to a relatively decent degree, I think they should be able to win this division by at least a couple of games.
All righty, good job. As always, great job. Nice work sticking it to him, Pierre. Of course, nice and respectful, being real, and then letting the fan come out a little bit. And just, hey, you're also being real there, too, man. So I wouldn't expect anything less of you, Pierre. So with that said, brother, thank you so much, man, for being a part of today's show. You have really just always, man, just brought a great touch to the show, as you always do, man. Just thanks again for taking time out of your busy day. I know you got a lot of things going, man. You got a family, of course, first and foremost. You're a busy working man. You got live calls like crazy, man. You're just doing a lot. So, brother, we appreciate you, man. But let everybody know, before you're out of here, let everybody know where they can find you.
On social media, on Twitter, found at Skywalker 42811. As far as the Sports Radio Twitter, find us at W Sports Radio. And you can also find us on Facebook as well.
Well, there you have it, y'all. Make sure to go give our sister station a follow at WSR Wellington Sports Radio. Great stuff as always, and show the love. Pierre, it has been great, brother. Take care, man. God bless you and your family. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Hope you have a wonderful week, wonderful blessed week, man. Look forward to having you back on the show very soon.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, sir. Appreciate you, and we'll be back again in the near future.
Sounds great, brother. Take care, man. Have a good one.
All right, you up.
All right, thank you, man. Take care. All right, y'all. That was Mr. Pierre Moss. Great stuff as always, man. Just glad to have him aboard and a part of this, man. Just as always, doing great things. And gotta show him lots of love. So with that said, you guys, that is it for the Giants. We got one team to go here on the conclusion of NFC Week. NFC East Day right here on 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back with the Washington football team right after this.
Lay down music.
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must-listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com, part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you are listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my two co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
Welcome back, football fans. Alrighty, it has been quite the day here on our NFC East show. This is the grand finale, if you will, of the NFC East show because, well, this is day number 4. So, as you already know, as I've been saying all throughout the series, we are pre-recording all these interviews over the weekend of this past weekend. But if you're listening live right now, this is Thursday, July 22nd, with the conclusion of NFC week. Once again, you're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. NFC week, the finale, the conclusion of NFC week, concluding with the NFC East. We already talked Cowboys with Mariella and Brennan Epperson, our 2 Cowboys fans, of course, the hosts of the Red River Rivalry, right here on IE Sports Radio. The Red River Rush, right here on IE Sports Radio. We talked with Cash and Chris, of course, Eagles fans, diehard Eagles fans, from our Philly Sports Show Talk. Our Philly Sports Talk show, of course, here on IE Sports Radio as well. And then we talked Giants football with one half of the show that never sleeps right here on IE Sports Radio as well, along with Harrison Glazer, which is a Jets fan. We talked with Pierre Moss earlier, talking Giants. And, well, the last but not least, not just to end the show, but to end the week, the 16th team, if you will. We have made it all the way to team number 16 this week, talking Washington football, and with me here today, glad to have him here. He is absolutely a diehard, and I'm very happy we can bring him aboard. Actually, trying to bring him aboard IS Sports Radio. Don't tell him. Don't say anything. But, ladies and gentlemen, he seems like a great dude, and I'm glad to have him here today. Well, he is a great dude. Glad to have him here today to talk about his Washington football team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming. He is the host of the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, talking all things Washington football. Well, co-host, that is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Mr. Jesse Martin. How's it going today, brother? How you doing today, man?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. And I guess you just saved the best team for last. I mean, that's the way I'm taking it.
Well, hey, I'll tell you right now, the people who went before you would definitely beg to differ. I bet. But Jesse, this is going to be a lot of fun, man. So I'm looking forward to this whole entire segment. You definitely, the Washington football team has had its ups, downs, and everything in between.
Downs, but okay.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, man. Late 80s, around the time I was born, to early 90s when I was very young, this team was a major, major powerhouse. My beloved Raiders, which I'm a horrible Raider fan, which, Raiders is, I don't want to get into it now. I'll talk about them later and next week on AFC week, NFC West Day. But, yeah, the last time we won a Super Bowl was actually over you guys in '84, which is 4 years before I was freaking born. Actually, 5 years before I was born. So, yeah, thank you, Raiders, for not winning. But, more recently, regardless, man, you guys are, this team, it goes from the name change. It's just so much has happened with you guys in the last couple of years. But with that said, man, let's go ahead and get underway from last year. So first things first, talk about last year. Every raw emotion from the start to finish, however you want to do it, man. Give us your thoughts on Washington's actual season last year.
Last year it was it was up and down. In the beginning, obviously, COVID, it affected every team in the league. And then our coach, we hired Ron Rivera, which I thought was a fantastic hire. We had all this off-the-field turmoil with the owner. So we really didn't know what to expect going in. I even had promise, and I'm always a skeptic, with Dwayne Haskins. The year before that, he finished the season solid, but 4 games in, we just knew he wasn't the guy. So here comes Kyle Allen. He gets hurt, and then wouldn't you know it, Alex Smith jumps on the field, and he was, or should I say, hopped on the field. And he kind of saved our season, and it wasn't really from his play per se, but it was from his leadership. And, of course, we got Chase Young. I think he's going to be one of, if not the best pass rusher to ever play the game. And it was a weird season. Our coach was battling cancer.
Yeah.
We get to the playoffs at 7-9. We have a crazy playoff game with Taylor Heineke. We battle with the to-be Super Bowl champions. I wouldn't say we were close to winning that game, but we were there. It was a weird season, man. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster. I will say that. It was unexpected, and if Dak wouldn't have gotten hurt, we would never have been there. And I'm going to be honest with you on that.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that is one of the. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the applause there, man. The applause button, because I'll tell you what, that takes a big man to say that.
I'm a realist, man. I'll tell you straight out. Now, I will say the team showed promise last year, and I think if we had competent quarterback play throughout the year, it probably would have, been toe-to-toe with the Cowboys if Dak was healthy all year round. It was our quarterback play that hurt us. We have a great defense. I'm not going to say elite yet, but it's getting there. We got better this offseason. So, it was a stepping stone. We were the year before last. We were 3-13. We won more than twice the games. We won 7 games last year. So you got to take that for what it's worth. And I think it has to do with coaching. A lot of it has to do with coaching.
Well, I completely agree. And you guys have a solid football team, though, man. Okay, I want to get into. Of course, you guys did win it all last year in the NFC East. Pretty awesome. But I want to get into the free agency. Okay, so overall, you guys had some key departures and some key pickups. One departure just kicks me in the balls. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't even want to sound unprofessional, but man, there's a guy on your team that I just want to be on my team, but he's not on my team no more. He's not on your team no more. He's on the freaking Eagles. So we'll get to him in a little bit. But some key departures and some key pickups and everything from this year, of course. You have Alex Smith calling it a career, I believe, correct, right? He called it a career officially. Okay. Brandon Scherff, I remember seeing this guy just, hang clean 405 like it was a toothpick a couple years ago. Well, he's still there. Pretty awesome. Eric Flowers, actually, coming from the Giants, going to the Bears, now going to the Washington football team. But from the Dolphins, you will acquire him. Charles Leno Jr., tackle from the Bears, heading on over to Washington. Also, Adam Humphries from the Titans over to Washington. You guys will lose Morgan Moses, right tackle, to the Jets. Bobby McCain and Brian Fitzpatrick coming on over from the Dolphins. You guys will lose Ronald Darby to the Broncos. Kevin Pierre-Louis from Washington to the Texans. And then you guys will have some pickups here. You guys will keep Dustin Hopkins. David Mayo from the Giants will head on over, as well as William Jackson III. So some good pickups here. Tyler Larson, center, heading on over. David Sharpstein, Darrell Roberts coming over from the Lions. Curtis Samuel coming over from the Panthers. That was pretty big. But then Ryan Anderson, an edge rusher, going on over to the Giants. I mean, just all of these different pickups and moves. So I'm not going to name all of them. There's been a lot of them. There's still some big key ones. But the one that just kicks me hard, I'm sorry, and you may not even think he's all that good. I don't care. I even said I mentioned it earlier to the Philadelphia guys, and they were like, yeah, he's pretty good, But it kind of seems like they may feel like his best years are behind him. But a couple of years ago, I was watching my Raiders play. It was I think it was Gruden's first year, and I think it was Gruden versus Gruden, if I'm not mistaken. But I watched my Raiders go on over to the East Coast to play you guys and get absolutely destroyed. And there was one guy who literally had a field day. Like, he could literally make a Hall of Fame freaking gosh dang highlight tape on us that day. And that guy is by the name of Ryan Kerrigan. He literally, he must have broken like a record on us because nobody was stopping him. He was like a monster out there, like freaking absolute monster. And now it sucks because you guys had, Deron Hand, I believe he's still there, but you guys have had a very nasty defensive line. A couple years ago, you guys acquired a absolute stud, in my opinion, to go with your defensive line to make them better. But we'll get into that in a little bit later when it comes to the depth chart. But when it comes down to it, man, some key departures that I feel there. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about your key departures and your key pickups for your team this year.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ryan Kerrigan, he was a franchise player, and it sucks to see him go, but I totally understand it. He's not going to get playing time here. He's got Montez Sweat and Chase Young ahead of him in the depth chart, and he wanted to go where he has the opportunity to get more playing time, and he wasn't. I think the coaches did right by him, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think he still could be a starter in this league. He might not start for the Eagles, but I think he'll get more playing time with the Eagles. And to be honest with you, he'd be okay. I'd be comfortable with him in short spurts. I mean, he had limited playing time last year, and he had 5 sacks. But he was here. He did his time here, and it's he's got people ahead of him, man. And I get it. There was a lot of fans upset about it, you know. I also get that, but it was time for him to go. You know, I think the coaches did him right. He wanted more playing time. We're just going to get to him. You know, same thing with Morgan Moses. He had been our right tackle for quite a few years, and he had one of his best seasons last year. But guess what? We drafted the stud in the second round, and Sam Cosmi. It's about money, and it's about getting these younger players involved. And you know, the direction that Ron Rivera has taken us is totally. I see the vision, and adults are running the show now. You know, you can't keep people off for sentimentality. So yeah, and I think William Jackson III, he is a underrated signing. Darby had a good year last year, but he couldn't play man worth anything. William Jackson III allows us to be a lot more flexible with our defensive backs. We can move Kendall Fuller around. Kendall Fuller doesn't have to worry about being, DB1 or CB1. And Curtis Samuel matched with Terry McLaurin. Man, people got to watch out because we actually have someone that will push the ball downfield, and that's what we lacked last year. We didn't have quarterbacks that would throw the ball more than 15 yards down the field, and Brian Fitzpatrick, as many people know, will throw that ball downfield.
Absolutely. Great stuff there, man. Let's go ahead and jump right into that draft because I love what you brought up already. I mean, your first overall draft pick, man, the 19th overall pick, Jamin Davis. I don't know what's his name, but Jamin Davis. The guy is a freaking beast. Jamin.
Yeah, he's a monster, man. And look, we had a hole in the defense, and it was at linebacker. And that's what hurt us last year, especially in the run game. But, man, this kid can fly. This kid will play all over the field, and he can cover tight ends, which is another weakness that we had. So it was a great pickup, man. Great pickup, Jamin Davis. I would almost put money that he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year,
Wow.
especially playing with our defensive line. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have the best defensive line in the National Football League. And I'm not sure it was close, especially year 2 with Deron Payne, John Allen, Chase Young, and Montez Sweat. And we have Tim Settle and Matt Ioannidis as backups. I mean, those two can start on 31 other teams except for our team. So Jamin Davis coming in here as a rookie, he's going to be able to just basically do whatever he wants, fly around the ball. And he's just going to rack up tackles, man, because our defensive line is that good.
I love it. You guys have the defensive line from hell. That's what I always call it. Montez Sweat. That's the name I was thinking about earlier. Freaking beast. Chase Young. I mean, it's true. Deron Payne. I don't know why I said hand earlier. But the guy is a freaking monster. There's such a good defensive line. But then you guys add some beef, of course. This is awesome. Samuel Cosmi, I believe I'm going to butcher his name there, but big offensive tackle out of Texas. Another big pickup there. Benjamin St. Just, I believe, out of, or Huste, I don't know butcher his name either. But
St. Juice.
St. Juice. corner out of Minnesota.
He's French Canadian, man. He's been doing really, really good in mini camp, and that also is going to give us more flexibility because I figured that he might take a year. He'd get some playing time this year, but he might start pretty soon, and that's very impressive. I got to tell you guys, people are going to be afraid of this defense. We got the holes that we needed to fill. We brought them in through the draft and free agency. I think that it's for quarterbacks that hold onto the ball a long time, it's going to be trouble for them. I can promise you that.
I completely agree. I mean, looking at these players, it is amazing. And you guys really address what you need in the draft. Continuing here, let's see here. Diami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina. You guys also picked up John Bates, tight end out of Boise State. I mean, the list goes on. You guys had some more pickups here, but at the end of the day, what do you think? Give yourselves a grade. What do you think of all these athletes coming on in? I'm more of a college football guy than I ever will be an NFL guy. I love the NFL, but I guess love college more. But at the end of the day, even some of these guys I don't know clearly. As you can see, I don't know how to pronounce some of their names. But at the end of the day, what do you think? Tell us real quick, man. I mean, overall, give us your thought, Jesse, on what you feel. You said you guys addressed it, everything you needed to. I thought so as well. So, what kind of grade would you give this draft, and why?
I'm a pessimistic guy, especially when it comes to my Washington football team. But I was very impressed with what we did the offseason through the free agency and the draft. I'm going to say A-. And years prior, I was giving them D's, C pluses, a B here and there. But I was really impressed with what they did this offseason because they filled the needs that they needed to be filled. We just didn't go after just players. We didn't go after big names. We gave the contracts that we gave to the free agents were fair. Within other years, we'd be paying big name players to come here that wouldn't even fit the scheme that we were trying to run. We got players that fit the scheme, and players that have no baggage as well too, and that's been a problem in years past. That we would bring in players that had some baggage with them. We didn't do that this year.
Exactly, and look at you guys. You guys, with no freaking name, won the division. I mean, that is amazing. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome, man. And as I've been saying throughout the entire this show, this used to be the powerhouse division of the NFL. It is no longer that.
It sure was.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's no longer that, but maybe it could get back to that. I mean, good teams, solid rivalries. But let's take a look here at this depth chart, okay? So, courtesy of ESPN.com. Right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tal Heineke is backing him up. Antonio Gibson right now, and J.D. McKissick out of Seattle. I remember J.D. McKissick from Seattle doing pretty good things there.
Oh, yeah.
Terry
He called 90 balls last year, man. McKissick was great for us last year. 90 catches out of the backfield last year. That's amazing.
He really, it is. And the young man out of Ohio State, drafted a few years ago when he got drafted, Terry McLaurin, looks like he's starting for you guys now. Curtis Samuel is going to be there. Adam Humphries is there. Pretty awesome. Logan Thomas. The offensive line is pretty beefy, and I think it's all going to be led by Brandon Scherf, freaking beastie monster there. So great stuff. And this defense, we just mentioned it earlier. Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat. That is disgusting. I love it. I mean, that is a defensive line right there. That is nasty. As a defensive lineman myself, I just eat that up. I love that. Then Davis, Bostic, and Holcomb, your linebackers in that classic 43 defense. Then Fuller, Collins, Curl, Jackson III. I mean, seriously, this defense is awesome. So please go ahead and let us know, Jesse, what do you think some of these players are going to have? Like, for instance, like what kind of roles do you think some of these players are going to have? Really, what do you expect from this team going into the season?
Yeah, I'll start on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to expect that Curtis Samuel is going to be moved around a lot. You're already going to see Curtis Samuel in the backfield. You remember last year playing in Carolina and Brady's offense. They put him back there, and he did very, very well. Antonio Gibson was a college wide receiver before he came to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Same with McKissick. So those three pieces right there, you can have you can have McKissick and Gibson lined up as wideouts and bring Curtis Samuel in. What is the defense is going to think then? You know, who's getting the ball then? And then you have Terry McLaurin. Listen, man, Terry McLaurin the past 2 years has had crap for quarterback play. You actually have a quarterback. I'm not touting Ryan Fitzpatrick as our savior, but he is going to be the best quarterback that we've had under center in quite some time. Terry McLaurin is going. I would not be surprised if he gets 1,300 plus yards this year because of the way that Fitzpatrick will stretch the field, and we have the players that you can't don't. And Terry was double teamed so much last year; it was ridiculous, and he still had over 1,000 yards. You're not going to be able to double team Terry this year because you have not only Curtis Samuel but Dimey Brown. Second half of the season, watch out for him. Once he gets his feet wet, he's coming as well. You have Adam Humphries, which is the perfect slot guy. Okay, as long as he can stay healthy. He's had some concussion issues, and Antonio Gibson had 11 touchdowns in 10 games last year. Think about that for a second. That's crazy. As a rookie, that did not play running back, but for a few snaps at Memphis. Before then, just think about that for a second, man. I have very, very high hopes that this offense, with our defense, is going to be trouble. As long as Scott Turner, which is our offensive coordinator, will put these players in position to make plays. We have playmakers all over the field. And listen, Logan Thomas, man, he was drafted as a quarterback. I'm a big college football fan, too, and Virginia Tech is my favorite team. He was Virginia Tech's quarterback. He got drafted as a quarterback. He's been a tight end for just a couple of years, and he had a fantastic year last year. Expect his numbers to go up as well. Fitzpatrick loves his tight ends.
I love it.
So, man, I'm telling you, we have a gauntlet of a schedule, but I'm not that afraid as I would be in years past.
Well, that is great to hear, and I'm loving what you got going, man. I'm loving that, you're confident in this team, and why not? Why should you fear anybody? You guys just won the division last year, so in my opinion, hey, I don't care who got hurt or what happened. I know Dak's the man, and I get it. He's a very underrated quarterback in my opinion, but at the end of the day, they lost. You didn't,
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I'm more afraid of the Giants this year than I am of the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't wait to hear why.
Listen, the Giants are coming up, man. If Daniel Jones can get it together and hold on to the football and stop making mistakes, they're going to be. I think it's going to be Washington and Giants going to be running the East for the next few years. Dallas just can't. Dallas can't fix their defense. I mean, listen, Dan Quinn, he did great in Seattle, but what did he do in Atlanta? Not much. His defense were kind of trash in Atlanta.
Oh, man.
A lot of Cowboys fans think that Dan Quinn's going to be their savior, and I don't think so.
Well, save that. Hold that thought, because we're going to get into the final segment, because this is the last segment of this interview. It has been great having you on, Jesse. This last segment is a little something that I've been doing for the last 2 years called Stick It To 'Em. So, as I mentioned, of course, before we got on air, we talked to Pierre Moss today. We talked to Mary Ella and Daniel Epperson today. And we also talked to Bobby Cash and Chris Amos today. Those are all hosts of iSports radio shows that all love their NFC East teams very much. And let's just say, regardless of even being respectful, Pierre was the nicest one, the Giants fan, which is kind of cool that you kind of gave him props, which is cool. But the other two definitely went in on you, and, they had some unkind things to say. So when you hear the actual show coming up this coming Thursday, you'll already hear by this point what they said. But, this is the time for you to talk about the kind of season you think that those three teams are going to have. And then, of course, you could be nice or respectful or nasty or mean about it. But then, of course, talk to, let everybody know what you actually think of those teams as a fan. So without further ado, Jesse, stick it to them.
Sure. I'm just going to be honest. The Eagles are going to be trash. I don't believe in Hurts whatsoever. I have a feeling they're going to get their quarterback next year, and they're going to be, a couple years down the road, they might get it together. Dallas, listen, man, Jerry Jones just sticks his foot where it doesn't belong. He's the issue in Cowboy land. They always think they're going to the Super Bowl, and it never happens. It hasn't happened in so long. They always shoot themselves in the foot. Something always happens, and I'm sorry. Their defense is putrid, even with Micah Parsons. And I'm sorry. I am. A lot of our fans wanted us to draft Micah Parsons. I am so glad that we didn't, because he's got issues. He's got issues calling plays. He's got issues getting lined up in the field. He's a great athlete, but that's it. They didn't do much even though they drafted all defensive players almost, they didn't do anything to really better themselves. I'm sorry. You've got to have some defense in this league nowadays. And yes, Dak Prescott's coming back. How healthy is he? We don't know. But that doesn't seem to matter, because in years past, they've been healthy and they still shoot themselves in the foot sometimes. So I'm not worried about them at all. The Giants, on the other hand, they have a defense. They made some good offseason additions on their offense. They have Saquon Barkley coming back. I think it's going to be New York and Washington fighting it out. And it's crazy that we end up having 5 NFC East games to end the season. We all play each other. It's nuts, man. 5 in a row to end the season. All the NFC East teams play each other. I've never seen anything like that in my 40 years of watching NFL football. So yeah, man, I think we are going to win the division this year. I think we're going to have an 11-5. It was 11-6. I haven't since that 17th game. Yeah, 11-6 record. I think Giants are going to make the playoffs as well as a wild card team, and I think the Dallas is going to be 9-8.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, Look, I played football for a long time. I still currently play as a semi-pro player. I love the game, but one day I'm not gonna be playing no more. But I really don't like this extra game. It just pisses me off. Like
it's weird, man.
I hate it.
It's weird. I guess. I mean, it should be an even amount of games. To be honest with you, I think.
Yeah, and I just don't like it because, man, let them go out there and play, man. This sport will tear you apart easy, fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on,
right.
man. Like, this isn't baseball. This isn't freaking, this isn't baseball. This is not basketball. Though those are both very hard sports to play, and I get it. Hockey plays 82 as well, and I know it's a violent game too. But man, football is a game where if you play, I mean, my goodness, I don't know. It's once a week, and one extra game out of these guys is a lot to ask, in my opinion. But anyway, with that said, I just like how you put, because I had to remind a few people today about the extra game with the final record. But with that said, Jesse, it has been great, man. Thank you so much for weighing in and just for telling everybody how you feel, man, and being a part of it. So with that said, thank you so much yet again for being on this show. And please let all these die-hard Washington football fans know where to find you, where to find your show, and anything else you may do.
Yeah, man, you can catch me on Twitter. I'm all over the place on Twitter. At Jesse's24. It's at JESSYS24. You can catch us on YouTube. We just started a YouTube channel. So we haven't really started pushing that yet, but I guess we're about to. We just had a production meeting, and we're going to start getting into that. The Bleeding Burgundy podcast. And you can catch us on every platform. Google, iTunes, Apple Pods. You can catch us at iHeartRadio. Anywhere that you can get podcasts, we're on there. The Bleeding Burgundy podcast, and we're just a Washington football podcast. We try to change it up a little bit. We put some comedy bits on there. You got to check out our Jerry Jones interview. That one's super funny, man. And we have Fo, Jason Wright, and Dan Snyder interviews, and we just poke fun out of them. We have some very funny guests that come on, and we try to make it different. There's a lot of fan podcasts out there, and they all have good content, but they all have the same content. So we want to try to be different and put a little bit of different, a little bit of color into it, if you will.
Well, that is awesome, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, please be sure to go ahead and follow Jesse Martin, man. Go ahead and check out the awesome stuff that they do, man. I want to go ahead and get this one right. The Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go check it out. Go show them some love, y'all. Always some great stuff. And yeah, like I said, who knows, man? We keep talking. I don't know. I mean, you might see Jesse familiar around IE Sports Radio pretty soon. Just saying. So with that said, man, thank you for being a part of today's show. Thank you so much for letting us your time, man. And take care. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll talk soon, man. We'll have you back on the show very soon.
Definitely, buddy. Definitely. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, man. Take care.
Later.
All right, later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this segment and for this total show. With that said, we are going to finish off NFC week, and we are done with it. All 16 teams now have been completed, and we are going to go ahead and roll on into the weekend and get ready for AFC week next week. So, of course, after this break, I will come back live on the actual show right here on Thursday. And, of course, I'll give you my final weigh-in of the division. Don't go nowhere, y'all. We'll be right back. You're listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, the conclusion of NFC week, right here, NFC East Day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
College football, and do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I A in the FBS? Well, then look no further join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head primetime face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it. You most certainly don't. I'll tell you, coming up this year, it's going to be fun. A little bit different. As I said earlier, scheduled times will be for the Thursday night game. I will be on 4:15 p.m. Pacific time, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, right up to kickoff of the game. Primetime face-off for Thursday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, the primetime face-off will be sometime in the morning, more than likely around 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Monday Night Football, I will be live with the primetime face-off from 4:15 p.m. Pacific Time. At 4:15 p.m. Pacific Time, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Then I will squeeze in my recap, more than likely going to be sometime on that Monday as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Recap of the week. Oh, actually, no, Tuesday. Sometime on Tuesday, I'll squeeze it in. And it'll more likely be sometime Tuesday evening where I get my little, 30 minutes to half an hour, 30 minutes to an hour around there. So yeah, busy during the entire season. Then of course I got the sports couples perspective with my beautiful, wonderful, amazing fiance Cecilia. Of course, Friday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. I know we missed it last week. Sorry about that, guys. The last couple of weeks, we got to get back on it. It's getting a lot going on this summer, you guys. Just enjoying ourselves and everything. And then, of course, Taryn and I at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time every Wednesday with 3 and Out College Edition. And then I still got to find some place to fit the defining moment. So, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Taryn gets put in the chat room. Yes, it's not football season unless Larry B is super busy. Yeah, y'all. So I'm going to school for my credential. I'll have a class time, taking just one class per. But yeah, I'm doing that, working full time. I got my season to play, playing semi-pro football, of course. Big ups to our sponsors, the SoCal Warriors, of course. That is the team I play for, so I'll be playing for them. I just gotta, oh man, I don't even know where I'm gonna fit practice in there, you guys. There's so much to do. But yeah, so there it is. But with that said, you guys, big ups to everybody. Appreciate you all. And that is how 3 and Out will go this year. With that said, you guys, we're going to jump right on in. And by the way, hopefully you enjoyed the show. Big ups to everybody. And thank you so much to everyone who was a part of this season. My goodness. All 16 teams have concluded in the NFC. That means we are officially halfway through the NFL, you guys. 16 teams down. 16 to go. I'll start recording interviews for the AFC as early as tomorrow. I'll finish up on Sunday. Hopefully I don't have to do anything on Monday night, but we'll see. But regardless, I'll have all 16 teams hopefully done this weekend. And then, of course, next week, as you know, AFC week begins on Monday. Should be fun, starting off with the AFC South. So, yeah, Taryn, and Lord knows what's going to happen to me now that I graduated from CSULB, so Long Beach, Cal State Long Beach. Once again, congratulations to you, Taryn. So yeah, Taryn's a busy man as well. So one of the COOs here at Vice Sports Radio, and we definitely appreciate you for all you do, man. So thank you very much. And earlier he did say that the Brandon thing, it was Taryn who brought that back. You stole it from him. So thanks for bringing that back, Taryn. Don't be a Brandon. Should be funny on the Red River Rush with Brennan. You guys know what I'm talking about if you listen to that show. So anyway, time for my final weigh-in, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I definitely loved it, bringing it to you, and I enjoyed it myself just listening. That's not conceited. I just listening to all of the awesome guests, not myself. So appreciate you all so very much, and let's jump on into my final weigh-in. So overall, you guys, let's start with Washington. I feel like right now, looking at the depth charts here, courtesy of ESPN.com, you have some very, very, very hard decisions to make when it comes to these defenses. I love some of these defenses. That Washington defense, as you heard right now, Mr. Jesse Martin talking about it, it's one of the scariest defensive lines, I think, in the entire NFL, if not the scariest. So that defense is actually pretty nasty, too, and they're one of my favorite defenses also in the NFL. I might get you picking them up in fantasy this year, just saying, or at least try to. The defense of the Eagles, I mean, they're good. They're not bad. Fletcher Cox is definitely a huge part of why they're good, or why they're pretty good. Darius Slay as well. I'm not going to slight anybody else on there, but not a bad defense, okay? Pretty solid. But just comparing real fast, or I guess not comparing, but just going through these players, I mean, my goodness, this defensive line, it is just nasty for the Washington football team. Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, and Daron Payne, my goodness. Also Montez Sweat. That is a disgusting, as I said in the interview with Jesse. I love it. That defensive line is unreal. John Bostic, I mean, this guy I'm really glad he's there. I mean, he can be the next dominant linebacker there since London Fletcher. I mean, John Bostic is a very good athlete, and I really like what he brings to the table. Veteran linebacker there. Very, very good athlete. Landon Collins, I mean, William Jackson, Curl, Fuller, Holcomb, Davis. This defense is hardcore good. Then you get to the Eagles, and it's not like they're bad, okay? Barnett, Hargrave, Cox, Graham, they run also the classic 43 defense, the attack defense, or at least, some people call it that, but pretty good. I mean, they all attack, but not a bad defensive line. Okay, then you look at the linebacker, Singleton, Wilson, Bradley. Okay, solid. The secondary, Slay, of course, McLeod, Harris, and Maddox. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name, Rodney McLeod. But yeah, I mean, pretty solid, okay? I'm definitely saying right now, Washington is my favorite defense, continuing. Then you look on here to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, Armstrong, Gallimore, Watkins, Randall Gregory. Okay, pretty good. Not bad. Pretty solid, okay? Solid defensive line. Once again, classic 43 front here. Van Der Esch. Okay, now we're really talking because Van Der Esch is the man. I mean, this guy, Leighton Van Der Esch, coming out of Boise State a couple years ago. I remember seeing him in the combine. The way he moves, his transitions, his footwork. The guy is a complete linebacker, and I really love what he brings to the table. Then, of course, Micah Parsons and Jalen Smith. I really like their linebacking core. It is awesome. I don't really know what to say about the defensive line. I mean, they're good, but they're definitely not as good as Washington, for sure. And the Eagles are kind of right here with them, defensive line-wise. Then you look at the secondary, Devon Diggs, Devon Wilson, Demonte Kazi, and Anthony Brown. Solid. I like that a little bit better than the Eagles. Regardless, though, I still like Washington's defense better. Then we look at the Giants. Now, Jesse pointed out that he thinks the division is going to be between Washington and New York. That's really hard because it's hard to ignore the talent that Dallas has on offense, and it's really hard to ignore, the talent that Philadelphia has on offense, but they just got to somehow put it together. I mean, they're not extremely talented. I mean, there's a couple of guys that I will get to in a little bit who I think can be a problem for the entire division. But overall, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Eagles' offense is something to fear. But I do know that, once again, they're no slouch offense, but they're definitely not, in my opinion, I hate to say it, but they're not cream of the crop, in my opinion, when it comes to, the other offenses in the NFL. And as for the Giants' defense, this is actually a very good defense. I really like this defense, you guys. Dexter Lawrence, Danny Shelton, Leonard Williams, they run the classic. Well, they run the 34, as I call it, the guessing game defense, because you never know where the pressure is going to come from. But Leonard Williams does it for me, and Danny Shelton. That's no shade to Dexter Lawrence, great player as well. But they have two guys in this defensive line who are absolute dogs. And once again, nothing to Dexter Lawrence. I mean, he's still very, very good. I'm not saying that he's not good. I mean, he's out at Clemson. Okay, a young man. I think it's only his second year or first year, I forgot. But regardless, yeah, it's his second year. So I like him, and he's just going to continue to grow. But then you have Danny Shelton and Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams, I mean, the guy, in my opinion, has never really had a chance to break out and be great. He was a Jet. That's no shade on the Jets. I'm just saying he didn't really have. He was good. He was good playing there. But now he's playing in the same exact stadium, just for a different team. We're in the other uniform. But right now I feel like Leonard Williams is really, really due for that major breakout season to where he looks like that Jared Allen type guy where he's just feared and he just has a great game like every week or every other week. And, so I seriously feel that. Danny Shelton has proven himself to be a big monster in the middle. Then Lorenzo Carter, pretty good. Reggie Ragland, I love this. Oh, yes. Reggie Ragland is a gosh dang monster. Then you get another monster in the middle. Blake Martinez, a longtime Packer, good stuff. Then you get the youngster here, Aziz out of Georgia, Aziz Ojulari. I'm not sure his name, but yes, another. I think he can really contribute. They got him as a starter already out of Georgia. I mean, Rolando McClain came from there, guys, and I think he played a couple years after he did, or might have just missed him. Good stuff. Then we get to secondary. James Bradbury. Pretty solid. Jabril Peppers. I've said it before. I said it with Pierre earlier on the interview with him. Some people called him a tweener. Some people were like, "Oh yeah, he's not much. He's we don't know if he's a linebacker or safety." That's what you want. Put him as a nickel. Run a freaking nickel. You know what I mean? Like this guy can do a lot. He's versatile. That's what it means. He's not a tweener. If we want to call him a tweener or whatever, but so what? The guy is freaking great. Let him do what he naturally does. So great stuff there. Logan Ryan, need I say more? Pretty solid, play for the Titans, play for the Patriots. Then you see Adoree Jackson. I'm an SC guy, so I'm already just a fan of his because, by default. Now, he was a Titan as well, and now he's heading on over and he's playing for the Giants. I really like this defense. Do I like it more than Washington? Oh, that is hard because I want to say yes. Because I see guys like Ragland, Martinez, and Peppers, and I like it because the setup is perfect for this. They have the players to run this specific scheme. But then you look at Washington, and they have the players to run the 4-3. So I really see where Jesse's coming from, saying that these two defenses, these two teams is probably going to go through them. It's the two defenses on the other sides, on the other teams. The Eagles and the Cowboys, I don't look at that defense and go, man, that's going to be tough to play against. I think they'll be good. Once again, as I always say, nobody sucks in the NFL. They're there for a reason. I didn't get there, but they're there. But what I'm saying is that I feel like when it comes down to rankings, I'm really stuck between Washington and New York because it's like, they both play. They both have their defenses set up so well to what they run. It's really hard to give one that's better than the other. Of course, I will in a little bit. Even I haven't figured that out yet. But now we look at the offenses. Okay. Taking a look at the offense. Going back to Washington. So Fitzpatrick. Okay, Fitzmagic. How much magic does he have left? Taylor Heineke. He's behind him. Taylor Heineke. Okay. Antonio Gibson. Solid. And J.D. McKissick. We talked about him earlier. He can really, both these two guys together in a tandem, good stuff. Okay, Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Solid. Also Adam Humphries. I like their receivers. They actually have a pretty nice receiving corps. Logan Thomas, tight end. Then you have your five big boys. You heard me just talk about Scherf all day long. I don't really know the other guys. I really don't. Lucas Rollier, or how you, Rollier, I don't butcher his name, but Schwitzer, even though I always... Sorry for that, you guys. I always say it's a habit of saying I don't want to butcher his name because I usually always do it and then I say it, so my apologies. But, and then Leno Jr. Okay, from what I see here, I guess know who Scherf is. But regardless, okay, let's just say that they're somewhat of a decent offensive line. Regardless, they got a lot of talent, but they need to keep their quarterback up. So, to me, that's a little bit of a question mark. But, I'm not writing them off for that, okay? Then you take a look at Philadelphia. Okay, offense. Jalen Hurts. We're yet to see what he can really do. I'm a fan of him because he's more of a powerlifter kind of guy. But at the end of the day, being a powerlifter is different than being a quarterback, okay? He's strong. He can run the ball. He's, some people were saying he's going to come out as a running back. Should he switch? I remember that whole thing when he was coming out of Alabama. But should he? Did he? No. Should he? I don't know. I just feel like right now, Hurts is a good player. Joe Flacco's behind him. What, are they going to start Flacco? And Nick Mullins is there too. At the end of the day, your best guy to start is Hurts. He's going to make things happen. I thought he was better than Wentz, and don't be mad at me for saying that. But Wentz needed to change scenery. Wentz went somewhere where I think he's going to do a lot better at. Hurts, let him start, let him gel, let him get better. With that said, I don't think he's going to come out and have this phenomenal year. I mean, he may. I think he's good, but who knows? I mean, we'll see. Miles Sanders. Okay, cool. Boston Scott, Kerryon Johnson. Okay, good. Cool. They have, and Kenneth Gainwell, I don't know who that is, but that's their depth chart right now. And Kurt, honestly, guys, okay, all four of these guys, let's see where Gainwell is from. He's a youngster. I don't know if he's been in a year or not. I think he was a rookie. Drafted from Memphis. Okay, well, hey, Memphis was a solid team. I love their jerseys. As I always say, I love their really cool uniforms. But with that said, you guys, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty darn good because, well, number one, he made it to the NFL, and number two, Memphis is pretty sweet. Pretty good team. So with that said, you guys, we're looking at Devontae Smith. Great pickup. Jalen Reagor, pretty solid. Travis Fulgham, pretty good, solid, okay? Dallas Goedert, I'm not sure his name, but Zach Ertz is also there. Offensive line, Dillard, Sumalo, Kelsey, Brooks, Lane Johnson, I know who that is. I know who Travis. Jason Kelsey is. But when it comes down to it, okay, so they actually have, in my opinion, could be a good offensive line. Then we go over to the Cowboys. I love this offense. This offense, I can't wait to see the Cowboys and the Washington football team play, and I want to see this Cowboys offense versus that Washington defense. Because to me, this is like my favorite offense. Besides, Washington actually, I think, has a nice offense as well. But Prescott, solid. He's healthy. Let's hope, he can stay there. Or at least we think, because it says questionable here by his name. Okay. Ezekiel Elliott. Michael Gallup, yes. And also Tony Pollard, don't forget him. Michael Gallup, I remember seeing him a couple years ago coming out of the draft. Awesome. Okay. And, oh boy, Taryn wants to have fun in the chat room. Look, Rager's not a bad athlete. He's not better than Jefferson because he says that the Eagles are passing on him was the worst decision ever. Now, I definitely can agree with that. But Rager's not bad. He's not horrible, but he's definitely not Justin Jefferson. So, and I will say that. Can he get there? Of course he can. He's got to keep working hard. But, okay. CeeDee Lamb and Cedric Wilson. I like these receivers. Now we're looking at, Blake Jarwin. Okay, cool. Tight end. Now the offensive line. Oh my gosh. Tyron Smith, monster. Connor Williams, solid. I don't know who Tyler Baidez, I don't know butcher his name, but Tyler B. Okay. Zach Martin, absolute beast. Probably the best guard in the NFL. And then La'el Collins. I'm not quite sure if I know. I actually don't know who he is. But regardless, La'el Collins out of LSU, because he's a few years out of LSU. Okay. So, okay, solid. Now we're taking a look at the Giants. Quick and dirty, Daniel Jones. He's got question marks around him. Okay, Saquon Barkley. Yay! He's the best guy on their team, I think. Galladay, Shepard, Slayton. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not going to give them the A+ grade for sure, but okay, good. Evan Ingram, solid tight end. Also Elijah Penny at fullback. Cool. Okay, now we have the offensive line. Nate Soldier, beast. Okay, Shane Lemieux, don't really know. Nick Gates, Zach Fulton, Matt Pert. Overall, I'm not really sure who these offensive linemen are. I know they got Will Hernandez in there in depth as well, but overall, I guess I need to follow offensive linemen closer, I guess. But overall, this doesn't scream out to me absolute great. It's just Saquon Barkley, a quarterback who's really, I really like Daniel Jones. The guy's got 2 master's degrees. I remember hearing that from the, so he's got a great, I'm sure he's a very smart guy. I remember hearing that when he was finishing his second master's in the Senior Bowl a couple years when he was there. But regardless, good stuff. Okay, I like bits and pieces of the Giants offense. I like bits and pieces of the Philadelphia offense, but I don't really see dominance. I see dominance in the offense of the Cowboys and the Washington football team. So as you can see here, you guys, I'm pretty much... Okay, there you go. Terrence says Rager, fine. Rager is an average wide receiver. Yes, he is. Also, Evan Ingram is a meh tight end. He's actually pretty solid. I mean, he's not the best in the NFL, but he's solid, okay? He sometimes has stone hands, drops the ball a lot, yes. Regardless, I mean, I don't follow them too closely, so I wouldn't know that. Like, I guess, you know, Darren knows more than I do, man. Darren's the man. But with that said, you guys, I honestly feel that's not a knock. Darren's just the man. He knows a lot. The guy is awesome. So with that said, you guys, I just want to say this is tough. It's a tough decision. I want to say that I'm not going to give some popular final verdict. I'm not. But we're going to save that in just a few moments here because we're going to have some fun. So let's go with the favorite trash talker, of course, and talk about who won it all in the segment of Stick It To 'Em. So thank you to everybody who voted. Actually, oh my gosh, I never put it up. So you know what? Here's what we're going to do. My goodness, I actually didn't do. I was doing a million things earlier, but it's okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna save this Stick It To 'Em for the next hour. I'm gonna post it right now, and I just want everybody to have fun and vote on it and talk about who they like the most. So it's been posted at 3 and Out, of course, on Twitter at 3 and Out. Once again, that's at 3 and Out, all spelled out. IESR at 3 and Out. All spelled out, IESR. Go check it out and let us know. It'll be available for the next hour. And then, of course, I will tweet on there all the champions of the week for the Stick It To 'Em segment. So we won't have the announcement on the show. My apologies. But what we will have the announcement, so I guess I dropped the ball too, stone hands. But there you go, Taryn. But I'll tell you right now, you guys. It's all good, Taryn. This is going to be fun because, well, the final voting poll is in for who you think is going to win it all. And with that said, you know what time it is, y'all. Cue the music, because we're out of here! All right, you guys, here we go. You, the listeners, with 40%, this is crazy, and I think the division is going to be this close. 40% of you are taking the Washington football team, and believe it or not, it's 20-20-20 on the other teams. Well, all the Cowboys, Eagles, and the Giants are all 20%. So everyone here is picking Washington. After that, let's see here. Taryn says here my final NFC East predictions are 4th place Eagles, 3rd place Giants, 2nd place Washington, and 1st place Cowboys. And this is, I think, one of the first times Taryn and I are going to disagree in this entire series this year because I do not have it that way, you guys. So far, looking at everybody, judging off of what I've seen, depth charts and everything like that, at the end of the day, I have to go with, and I hate to say this, but right now the Eagles will go. So we'll agree there, Taryn. The Eagles, I do have it in 4th place. They will win somewhere between 6, I mean, I hope it's not 5, but maybe 5 to 8 wins. I want to see them get better. Decent offense, okay defense, but they're just middle of the road in my opinion. They could be somewhere between there. Giants, I see you, Taryn, but believe it or not, I'm actually going to go with the Cowboys in 3rd. Go ahead, get mad at me, everybody. Yes, go ahead, have fun with it. Because their defense, it just doesn't scare me. I don't see anything crazy in that defense to where I think they're going to be dominant. They're going to be really close, a really close 2nd place with, in my opinion, the Giants, who I feel like will be between 8 and 10 wins. Then we have my 2nd place, of course. Oh, sorry, well, that is the Giants. The Cowboys will be between 7 to 9, sometimes maybe 7 to 10 wins. So will the Giants between 7 and 10 wins. And then also the Washington football team, I think, will be between also 7 and 10 wins. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my prediction. I'm going to go with Washington football team to win it this year. They just look too good on defense, you guys. And at the end of the day, if they don't score, we don't lose. You know, coaches say it all the time, you guys. So that's what I'm going to go with. I am taking Washington to win this thing. Dallas looks good, but I guess it's going to be a toss-up. This seriously might come down to that last game. So for this division, that last game of the week, my goodness, 18 or whatever it is, yeah, week 18, we'll serve a lot of purpose in my opinion here. So with that said, you guys, go ahead and jump on that voting poll. Talk about who your favorite trash talk was, and I'll post that up in a little bit on the Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, NFC week is complete. Yeah, y'all. That will do it for this week. I will be back next week, Monday, July 26th, to talk AFC on the kickoff of AFC week with the AFC South. Awesome stuff. Thank you very much. Appreciate you very, very much. Darren, yeah, he agrees. The division will be decided in the good too. So with that said, you guys, I will see you all. Thank you all of my guests this week. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, the chat room, all the good stuff. I will see you guys on Monday. With that said, take care. And as always, God bless.